Well, I'm running down the road with Barbera in tow. I got 15 titles on my mind. 7 world ones, 1 hardcore, and 7 tags with 4 different guys. Take her easy, take her easy. Don't let the sound of gongs and bells drive you crazy. Lights up and raise my hands. Don't even try to understand the supernatural dead man. So take her easy. Well, I'm standing on the corner of Death Valley, California. Such a bright fire I see. It's my house, my Lord, burned to the floor. Lost my parents, brother, everything. Come on, Katie, but please don't blame me. Paul Bearer took me in as his and tried to train me. Rarely lose, I usually win. I never thought I'd see you again. You opened up the cell and climbed in, so freaky and easy. Now I'm running down the road and I'm all on my own. Got a decade of destruction. Call me Big Evil, not Booger Red, but do call me American. Take her easy, take her easy. Don't let the sound of Limp Bizkit drive you crazy. Come on, Vincey, you bury me. I'm coming back as the dead man, so take her easy. I wanna take her easy. You wanna take her easy.
I got you.
All right, man. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. Creatures of the night. Welcome to Talking Taker, episode 187 of our encyclopedic exploration, digging up the career of the greatest professional wrestling character of all time, The Undertaker. My name is Alex Doriot. I almost said Alex White. I'm nervous, man. My name is Alex Doriot. I want to thank you for joining us for one last round of Dead Man Talking. And I am joined, as I have been for these past 187 episodes, for this entire time, for 3.5 years, as I have been every week, by my tag team partner, my wrestling buddy, my best friend, live and in living color in person, Mr. Travis White. And Travis, it's been an incredible ride. I can't believe we made it here. It feels like just yesterday we started things off. But tonight, in the words of this man himself, it's time for the Cowboys to finally ride away.
The Cowboy to ride away. This is our final farewell.
It is.
As it's like Takers, we're going to cover that in just a second. This is our final farewell to, not to each other, because we'll still be friends, but to you, Talking Taker fans, to the Creatures of the Night. It's our final farewell to you, and yeah. Stick with us. We're going to try to get through this one.
Hey, it's episode 187, which is perfect. We got that 187 on the Dead Man.
Homicide,
right
baby.
We're ending it right here. Hopefully it will be a more peaceful ending. He will get to rest in peace,
homicide.
as you might say. But thank you for opening up your house.
Yeah,
to me,
absolutely.
man. Let me come here. I got my COVID test. I'm COVID clear,
We're good.
so we're good. But as you can see here, it is a special occasion, so we had to dress up for it with the formal wear, the ties. I got my "What Up, Dad" pin exclusively. I had to bust that out here. We got some Undertaker accoutrement.
That's right.
And some of our merch up here. tpublic.com. That'll be up there forever.
35% off every other week.
Travis,
I'm
you got
rocking
your formal wear?
I got my formal wear. You guys can see this. my Taker Zubas that Alex got me for Christmas. So thank you, brother. I don't get to bust them out often, but this is the specialist of special occasions to wear this. So yeah, you dressed up. We were joking before we started recording.
Take her easy on undershirt. Course,
we were joking before we went on that Alex was like my manager if I'm a backyard wrestler from like '99 and he's my manager. So I
think that's pretty much our vibe.
Zubas.
I think that's pretty much it, man.
Anyway.
Oh, but seriously, man, I want to thank all of our listeners out there for joining us this week, wherever you're out there listening or watching us on YouTube. Man, I appreciate you. I hope this isn't your first time, but whether you've been with us for a few months, I know we've had a lot of people join us, in the past few months, or during COVID times when people had time on their hands, or some of you have been there, man, literally from episode 1, like the first week, the first few months or something. There's some of you that have been along for that entire ride, which is incredible.
Yeah.
Thank you. An encyclopedic exploration going through match by match for The Undertaker's pay-per-view career. We'll talk a little bit about the evolution of the show, some of our favorite moments and times as we go on here. Of course, we pulled the time traveling hearse into its resting spot last week when we talked about the Boneyard match, that final Undertaker match. So you might be wondering, what is there to talk about here? Shouldn't we have buried the show last week? But there are some things that happened throughout 2020 after WrestleMania involving The Undertaker. And, of course, he did make one final pay-per-view appearance.
That's right.
Not a match, but it was his 30th anniversary. So we felt like, let's end things there. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about what else happened in 2020. And, of course, something we've done through all the Undertaker eras, when we get to the end of them, we've done a top 10 matches of those eras. So we've done that three times now. And we'll talk about all those different eras.
First one would have been from 90 to 99, basically.
So September, October 99. We called that the original Dead Man era. So, he had different looks during that time. Had the gray gloves. I don't have a 98
purple
Taker. But, that was pretty much one solid Taker run in there through the Attitude Era. He gets hurt, goes away, June 2000, he's the Biker Taker. He comes there, that's June 2000 to November 2003.
When Vince buries him alive.
Vince McMahon buries The Undertaker.
Yeah.
And then the Return of the Dead Man, which was WrestleMania 20. And then we called it to the end of 2010.
10, I think.
Yeah, was the original Return of the Dead Man era.
Yeah. And
then we've been in the Last Outlaw era, is what we've called, since WrestleMania 27 up to the Boneyard match. And
more sporadic appearances once a year, a couple times a year, just the end of his career. And it's the last 10 years, basically, 9 years. So.
And there's not quite enough in there to do a top 10 just for those. I mean, there's so many. A lot of those matches are going to be in our top 10. Spoiler, as I'm sure you would predict, and so many of you have voted for. But we just decided tonight we're going to do all-time top 20 pay-per-view matches across every era here. We have not revealed them to each other. And we've got your fan votes as well. So all that, we're going to cram all that in, some of your comments and questions and everything here as well. But let's do it, man. Let's do it for one last time. Let's take the time traveling hearse back 1 year ago. Iconic match. I mean, lit the internet, the wrestling community on fire. The Boneyard match, so popular, universally acclaimed. We talked about it. Won the Slammy for Match of the Year last year. I mean, it was hugely successful way for The Undertaker to go out.
No doubt, man.
And that was on night 1 of WrestleMania 36. And then on night 2 of WrestleMania 36, after the show's over, we get a preview for something special for that we get the first 12 minutes of that Last Ride documentary. So we're
It's
sitting
real
there
exciting.
like already in the high of the Boneyard match. And we see that first look at the Last Ride documentary, and you knew it was going to be something special right off the bat.
Oh, yeah, we knew it was going to be fantastic because, again, it's him peeling back the layer like he's never peeled back before, you know, and it's great for us because we get more insight into stuff we've been covering for 3 years, you know, at that time. So, fantastic, and we've covered those in depth on here already, so we're not going to go into those in depth, but we'll just talk about them, you know, kind of where they came in to play, but, yeah.
Yeah, we got 2 episodes, digging up through the entire Last Ride series. We went in depth on each episode. First one's episodes 1 through 3, and then 1 through 5 on there. So those you can go back in the archives if you haven't heard those.
Yeah. So let's get into just what happens after Mania, I guess.
Because he kind of remains a presence.
Yeah,
on
he does
screen in a few ways.
Yeah, he buries AJ alive. You know, the little hand was sticking up or whatever, and it was kind of cheesy. But so a month later, May 4th, 2020, AJ Styles returns for the first time since the Boneyard match. He wins a last chance gauntlet match to qualify for the Money in the Bank match itself. So again, this Money in the Bank was going to be cinematic. It was going to be different. The men and the women matches were going on at the same time, which was unique, and I thought it was a cool concept. The idea, and they were going to film it at Titan Towers or whatever, WWE headquarters, what they call it.
Yeah.
But he viciously attacks Humberto Carrillo's leg after that, and he's apparently qualified for this match. It's AJ, Otis, Aleister Black, Rey Mysterio, Baron Corbin, and Daniel Bryan. So
what a crew.
A handful of those guys, I mean, I'd like to see them and AJ go, or I'd like to see any of those guys go up against Taker.
Aleister Black could have been.
Yeah, we put that on our list. And Daniel Bryan. Just
and Otis.
Oh, yeah. The sit-up as he's doing the caterpillar toward Taker, and he just sits up.
His facial expressions would be
would be pretty good.
It'd be pretty good.
But AJ says he's not a zombie. I'm not a ghost, you know. There's no Undertaker trying to steal my spotlight this time. I got buried, so what? He says, that doesn't mean I lost. There's no rules in a Boneyard match, which, I mean, they really didn't give us any rules.
We didn't hear a bell ring. Yeah,
I mean, sure, gong and no bell.
Undertaker walked out.
Yeah.
And AJ got buried, so.
But he says, that was then, this is now. I'm in the Money in the Bank, the most unique one in history. And so that takes us to Money in the Bank 6 days later. And then there's that unique match, you know?
Very unique match. Personally, to me, it was a big fall off the cliff from the Boneyard match.
You mean like Ray and Aleister Black?
I mean,
fall off the top of the tower.
I thought it was a cool idea. I was honestly excited for it, but yeah, too much goofy comedy on there for me that just didn't click. Like food fight and the
going in Vince's office
Money in the
cool.
Bank conference room with
where Stephanie comes in,
but she's not there. Like it's clearly she's clearly not actually in the building.
Yeah.
But something cool does happen with the Undertaker in there. Let me make sure. Undertaker is a presence as AJ Styles is running through the hallways in there. And he's seeing all these sort of like your pictures you got here, your family up here, these big canvas things from WrestleMania's past and other icons. And AJ runs through. There's one of Roddy Piper, I think, one of Roman Reigns, Cena, stuff like that. And he comes up on one of The Undertaker, of course. I think it's WrestleMania 33. I think it is from him walking on the stage in Orlando. And, of course, AJ gets spooked by it. He hears the music of The Undertaker in the background. And, okay, that's a nice little nod to things. And then AJ, he starts opening up doors, looking for the Money in the Bank briefcase, or looking for somebody. I don't know what he was looking for.
I think he's looking for Aleister Black or something. Ray Mysterio. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Well, he opens up the door, and he goes into The Undertaker's office and Titan Towers, I guess. I don't know what it was, but it's...
Taker retired and became a corporate suit, I guess.
There's purple lighting in there. There's a casket, an urn, and everything. And, of course, AJ gets spooked by it. And then Aleister Black comes in and kicks him into the room, locks the door. AJ escapes later on or whatever.
Yeah, he just shows up later. But
it's that part's actually not that bad. That's a nice little nod to their rivalry, a fun thing in there. But to me, that match, I don't know how you felt about it, but there's a little too much of that kind of goofy comedy that didn't really click for me in there.
There are things I laughed at, but I didn't want to. But well, then later that night is when The Last Ride Chapter 1 debuts on the network. So that was kind of, we were kind of thinking at that point, like, wait, isn't he retired? Like, why they keep teasing him, but it's because of the last ride, you know. So, and like I said, we've already covered that. But a couple weeks later on SmackDown, AJ Styles returns to SmackDown. He was on Raw, but then in real life, Paul Heyman didn't fight for his good brothers to stay, and they got let go, and he got mad at Heyman, and he asked to be transferred to SmackDown. So he goes to SmackDown, and he defeats Nakamura in a great match. And in a WWE.com exclusive interview backstage with, I think, Caleb Braxton, he says, you know, no one gets buried alive and comes back like AJ Styles. Like, whatever that means. Like,
I mean, I guess Taker got buried alive and came back.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. So, or is he saying people can come back, but nobody comes back like me? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what he's saying, but yeah, because he didn't come back. Yeah, when Taker came back, he was a dead man again. You know. Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. I don't know. Who knows? But anyway, he hopes Taker's watching. Is what he says, and he said that's all anyone talks about anymore. I'm done talking about it. And I walk off, and that's it. And I don't know why that happened, but it is what it is.
Yeah, so that's kind of the end of their deal, right? Or do they have anything else, AJ and Taker?
No, that's it.
I did read an interview with AJ. I don't remember the source. I didn't write it down, but he kind of talks about this stuff. I think it's from like December of this year, where he talks about, I don't know why we kept teasing it. Yeah. It kind of felt like they were trying to do another match between us, AJ and Undertaker, and I just did what I was told. AJ says, he's like, I didn't really like it because I didn't think it was actually going to lead to anything. But I thought, you know, what if we do? Who knows? It's out there. And it is still out there. You know, I think if Undertaker were to come back one day, that would be an obvious choice, obvious road to go down.
Sure, no doubt.
But on May 21st, 2020, June 21st, 2020, that is when the final episode of The Last Ride airs. And that is the moment where Undertaker basically spells it out and says he's retired, you know, with an asterisk next to it.
Right.
In case of emergency, if Vince called me, I'd be hard-pressed to say no to him. But effectively, like we said, the Cowboy's going to ride away this time. So he says it, really, really says it for the first time. We've assumed it from all these other moments, but he actually says, you know, I'm done. I'm happy with where things ended. I'm satisfied with that WrestleMania match. And that's what the whole Last Ride series is about finding that perfect ending, finding that satisfaction.
Exactly.
And so, of course, that's a huge deal in the wrestling world. So on SmackDown, June 26, 2020, and SmackDown has sort of been The Undertaker's show for the past 15 years or so. It's been his home. They do a whole tribute episode to The Undertaker.
Yeah.
And this is pre-Thunderdome, so they're still in the Performance Center. Mm-hmm. So there's still, a lot of times on SmackDown, they're just showing old matches along with new matches. Yeah. So they show the entire Boneyard match on this episode of SmackDown. They have a big video package for The Undertaker set to a song called The Reckoning by one of my favorite bands, Within Temptation, featuring Jacoby Shaddix. Love Within Temptation, man.
I thought you were going to say Need to Breathe. That's my favorite band.
Yeah, that would have been much better. But it's a great video. These videos just keep getting better.
So good.
They do every week. Or every few months, it seems like. And it covers every era of Taker. You got all the clips in there. And then the show opens with a lot of the SmackDown roster.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's everybody, but a lot of the big guys, they're all out there, heels and baby faces. Yeah. Thank you, Taker. Thank you, Taker. You know, like he died.
I know.
They don't really do this for living people.
Right.
But they do it for the dead man.
Exactly. Because he's just such an icon, man. And this whole episode is devoted to him. I mean, they have other stuff that doesn't tie in, but like for the most part, it's one of those like bottle episodes of a TV show, you know, where the stuff kind of all just takes place in and of itself. But like you said, they aired the entire Boneyard match, and then later on, right after that match, King Corbin's in the ring, mocking Taker. And again, in real life, we've said Corbin has said that Taker helped him a lot at the performance, and he'd come down and tell him how to act like a big man. And he said he'd read him the right eye. He would be harsh with him. Yeah. Which Corbin's like, I love that because I need that. I'm a football player, you know. I need you to be like a coach to me, not just give me all the niceties. So anyway, he says, you know, Taker's just that. A Boneyard match was just what he needed because he's just an old bag of bones and the shell of what he used to be. Taker had a 30-year career, but it's the only reason he's still around. He's safe because he kissed the McMahon's butts and he was coddled and protected by them for 30 years. You know, you've been stealing money from WWE for probably the last 20 and been holding people like me down since then. So he says, Taker, I don't thank you. Mark Calloway, I want to leave you with one final thought. You suck! It's like, oh, yeah.
It's so over the top,
Oh, yeah.
heelish and cartoonish, but he does a good job.
Oh, he does.
I mean, you're supposed to hate this guy,
Yeah.
and you do hate him
Yeah.
with that promo, no doubt about it. But Jeff Hardy,
Yes.
we talked about him, a guy who did have a pay-per-view match with Undertaker inside an Elimination Chamber. But no singles matches with Taker, which is a bummer because probably his most iconic TV match, non-pay-per-view match.
Oh, without question.
It's either number 1 or 2 or 3 in there. It's Undertaker and Jeff Hardy, the ladder match on Monday Night Raw. It's so perfect, such great storytelling. So and it helped make Jeff Hardy, a guy who's still on the roster today. You know,
Yeah.
so it helped elevate him and make him. They had a cool little mini feud on SmackDown, maybe like
End of 08 or 09.
08 or 09,
Golly,
something
it
like
was so
that.
good.
Well, that was cool, but they have a history, even if they don't have these iconic pay-per-view matches, which is neat.
It is neat. And he's going to come back to play during the final farewell, you know. But Hardy comes out and attacks Corbin and says, you know, and later on he has a backstage and he says that, you know, the Undertaker's been a mentor and a teacher, not just to him, but to everyone. He says, and if it were up to me, the Mount Rushmore of WWE would be the dead man's face 4 times.
It's like, what do we got to be?
Yeah,
Mount Rushmore.
exactly.
That's what it would look like. And Paul Bear. You'd have to have Paul Bear on the Mount
Well, he's like
Rushmore.
the 5th horseman. You know, it's 4 horsemen. They had 5 guys though, so yeah, no doubt. But yeah, he says, you know, I'll step up and deliver a message in respect against Corbin because I went to Dead Man University. I got my you know education at Dead Man University, so I love it. That's the main event. Corbin's
That's 2 T-shirts that we need. We need a
Dead
Mount
Man U
Rushmore with
Taker's
4 Undertakers
like the
on
different
it.
eras.
Yes.
Oh man, that'd be great.
And then anybody want to make a Mount Rushmore with 4 Undertaker's faces on it?
Yeah.
Hit us up
Of
at
different
Talking
eras.
Taker.
Yeah.
And then DMU, like the
Dead
SCU,
Man U,
Stone
yeah.
Cold University.
Why not?
Dead Man U, class of 666.
Oh, that's great, dude. Yeah, Death Valley, like you know,
Yes.
established 11/22/1990.
Oh my goodness!
Be great, dude.
Oh, why is that coming on the last?
I know.
episode?
Last episode. Maybe we'll have those up before this drops. Who knows? But
that's
anyway,
amazing.
that's the main event. Corbin mocks Taker during the match. Jeff winds up winning, I think, with a swanton, and it was just a unique SmackDown episode. It was
a
fun.
feel-good
Yeah, it was a feel good
moment.
thing. You know, it wasn't like one of those. It wasn't as feel good as like a. I don't know. Never mind. I'm just saying, like, it was really fun and unique, and just if there's any, you can't just do this randomly on a one-off to like Stone Cold,
Right.
or to Ric Flair. Like it meant a lot because it was Taker because he's still active or he's just now retiring. You know?
Right.
So if it was just a lot of fun. So
And some of the other baby faces jump in the ring at the end of that.
Yeah.
Big E and Kofi hop in there. Strowman, Matt Riddle, some of the next generation. They all hit their finishers on King Corbin.
Yeah.
And then they all celebrate as Jeff's music plays. But then Jeff takes a knee and does the Shakespeare pose while a big picture of The Undertaker comes up on the big screen. Yeah. So just a cool, like you said, cool way to acknowledge Taker.
Yeah.
Not must-see TV or anything, even for a diehard Undertaker fan, but cool to acknowledge him. You know, a cool thing to do during COVID times, too, where it's just like and this was June, like, it's still, like, really figuring out how to do these empty arena shows and just trying to fill time.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, it's a good way to do that, an easy way to do that. It's appreciated, like you said. And, I mean, that's pretty much it till Survivor Series, right?
Yeah,
Did you have
it.
anything else?
No, that's it till
Okay.
Survivor Series. So
Yeah.
November 22nd, 2020, which is again your anniversary.
My 6th wedding anniversary on that date.
But
You know,
also-
we're fated to do an Undertaker
Yeah,
podcast.
exactly. But that was the Undertaker's 30 years since his debut, which was to the day, which is
November
just
22nd, 1990.
Yeah, amazing.
Very special
It's
how it worked out that way.
so crazy how that worked out. But this is live from the WWE Thunderdome at the Amway Center in Orlando. You know, the hashtag farewell Taker up in the corner, whichever corner it'd be in. I don't know, that corner, this corner.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we kind of get some It's just it's a show that takes place in the current timeline. You know, and you got some good matches on there, like Reigns
But the whole
and McIntyre.
advertisement,
But the whole thing is
it's
him.
all about
The poster is him.
It's him.
Yeah.
The final farewell.
Final
it says,
farewell. Yeah.
If you go to Walmart and buy the DVD, it's got him
yeah.
on the cover of it. It says the final farewell on there.
Yeah, so it's all him.
It's all him.
Yeah.
I think we had speculated as early, the early days of the podcast. We had said, okay, 30th anniversary is coming around. I wonder what they might do for that. I wonder if he can hang on for that.
Yeah.
Would he maybe want to retire to WrestleMania? Because obviously that's a bigger deal. But 30th anniversary
on the
to the
day.
Survivor Series.
Yeah.
The exact day. That would be pretty cool too. I think my idea was to have him in another Survivor Series match because he wouldn't have to work too much, but it'd be a cool nod to that legacy. And I even really thought that was going to happen because the Survivor Series match they had on the show they had a mystery partner for Team SmackDown for a long time. Like I don't know who it ended up being,
I don't remember either.
Well, I thought, oh man, I'd be sick if Taker came back for that. But it's okay. I have no problem with him ending his legacy with the Boneyard match.
No.
So no one really knew what was going to happen with this, especially again in COVID times. What is this going to look like? What sort of tribute are they going to have? But the really special part is they don't just celebrate the Undertaker's 30th anniversary.
It's
another icon who debuted on that night. Actually, he competes. It competes and wins a championship.
Yeah, that's okay.
The Gobbledygooker wins the 24/7 title on the pre-show. Sadly, loses it to Akira Tozawa and then to R-Truth after that
shame.
on there. But man, I love that they acknowledged that.
I love
and
it.
Brought that back.
And it was. Who else has debuted and then 30 years later won a title? First title ever in 30 years. Gobbledygooker. There you go.
He's got that on Taker.
Exactly.
He got the last word. He got the last laugh.
Like, you may have had the better career, but I ended mine on title defense.
Gobbledygooker's career technically lasted longer than The Undertaker's.
His final match was actually.
It was.
His first and final match.
Yeah.
But yeah, Gobbledygooker, I love that they did that there too. Just funny. That is the kind of humor I enjoy because it plays into the history of the company and stuff.
And it doesn't matter. It's for a 24/7 title.
Yeah. Which is a joke.
But I do think it's funny, to go back to our very first episode, something we talked about on there was these two debuts at Survivor Series 1990. One, the Gooker was hyped up. The Egg was hyped up for weeks and weeks and weeks on
Taker
TV.
thought he was going to be the Eggman.
Undertaker thought he was going to be the Eggman. He talks about that on the Stone Cold Broken Skull sessions. How he was worried about that, what that was going to be like. Of course, thankfully, he ends up as the Undertaker. But one thing we talked about was Vince McMahon back in 1990 was probably just as excited for both of these debuts, maybe even more excited for the Gobbledygooker. And of course, that one, dies upon arrival, DOA. Whereas the Undertaker is a more low-key debut, is a mystery opponent, not quite as hyped up, not made as much of a big deal of, but is also a very weird out there character.
Yeah.
Gobbledygooker, a bit more goofy, not as intense as the Undertaker, but both
still cartoonish. Both of them,
both very cartoonish characters. One goes completely downhill. The other one goes on to become the greatest character of all time.
Exactly.
One the best of all time, one the worst of all time.
Yeah.
It's just funny how you see the two parts of Vince McMahon's brain working there.
Exactly. Yeah. You get to see his genius and his idiocy all in the same night,
It could have gone either way.
Yeah, you mentioned that early on. Like, that could have been Taker's career. Could have died right there if it had gone over like the Gooker did. So, luckily it didn't, or we wouldn't have been here. So,
well, that's the man, Mark Calloway. That's him being able to take something that I'm not saying no one else could have done the Undertaker character. Who knows? Maybe there's one or two other people out there that could pull off something like that.
Brian Lee couldn't.
No, he could not. But he's the guy who could take. We've seen here he would be a star no matter what gimmick.
Right.
It just turned out he got the perfect one for him.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
became a Mount Rushmore type of guy. But he would have been a successful guy, no matter what.
Oh, yeah.
Just because he's got that talent and that mind and that dedication.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of what this Survivor Series night is all about. I mean, they replay clips of the last ride with guys like Cena and JBL and Stone Cold and Shawn talking about him and stuff. It's old clips from last ride, but I remember seeing it. I didn't write down this exact quote, but he's just saying, like, the thing that makes Taker is Mark. Like, it's his devotion to the character. It's how much he protected the character. It's how much he gave us when he didn't have to give us, which is something I've been saying this whole time. Like, he just kept giving and giving, and he protected the business, protected his character. So yeah, that's what this whole night's about, the final farewell, you know?
It's just a shame there's no fans there. You know, they got the fans on the screens and everything, and of course it's because of COVID-19, it's because of the pandemic, but that's the biggest frustration with this show. Because if anybody deserves it, it's Taker. You know? But
they did the best with what they
I agree. I do think there's some cool stuff that we'll talk about here. And we did talk about it a bit on the 30 Days of the Dead Man episode that we did, so we won't spend too much time talking about it. We don't have to go through it word for word, but
we got some guests.
There are some special guests there. Matt, there's a Mike Rome, the ring announcer, announces some legends to pay respects to the Undertaker. Starts off with Shane McMahon, and then a future AEW star, The Big Show, out next.
Wow.
JBL, a guy who, our opinion on this show, because of doing this show, completely flipped on.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
I owe it to Taker for my fandom for JBL now. And it is one thing that's unique is every time somebody comes out, Michael Cole and Corey Graves talk about their particular history with Taker that night.
Yeah.
And they say JBL, like they say no one is bigger fan of Taker than JBL.
Well, when JBL started doing commentary,
it's all he talked about.
He always talked about that.
Yep.
Always talked about how he was his toughest opponent.
Yep.
And I'm sure he was shooting.
Yeah,
when
exactly.
He said that. I believe him. I don't think he was just playing a character.
And Jeff Hardy comes out. He's got the coolest face paint he's ever had on with the XT, across his face, and it was awesome. Yeah, it's so good.
Awesome. I want a figure of that.
Oh man, that'd be awesome.
Jeff Hardy figure with that face paint.
They
would
should
be rad.
do that.
Yeah, 2-pack would take it.
Man. And then Mick Foley hobbles out, Godfather, a fan of the show,
friend
of the show. Yeah, we've met him. We've talked. He's sent us a message because cameo.
I have our picture with Godfather in a frame on my Undertaker figure table. I've got our picture with Undertaker like on my desk.
Yeah.
But then I have a separate figure table and I have a picture with Godfather.
Exactly.
Framed on there. I love that, man.
He's a great guy.
Good brother.
Yeah.
Good father.
Yeah. Then the Godwins, Godfather. Then the Godwins. Unrecognizable.
Dude, their first appearance in 20 plus years, I think. Since 98,
as
99,
the Godwins,
maybe. Yeah, they never appeared on WWE TV since then. And
that's crazy.
Phineas, a.k.a. Midian, another one of our favorites.
Yeah.
Unrecognizable.
Oh, completely. I was saying earlier that I did let two guys that set up a fair or something.
They might have. Fair. They might have just came right in from that.
Yeah. Then we got Savio comes out there, BSK member. We got Rikishi.
I think also he had not been around since Attitude Era. Savio.
Is he on here? Just kidding.
Los Perique was the making cut.
Then we got Rikishi, another BSK member, and then Kevin Nash.
Who retweeted us one time.
Yeah, he did.
Well, when we did the
Armageddon one? Yeah.
He replied to us.
Yeah. Big Sexy. Kevin Nash comes out. Booker T looks better than anybody out there.
Mama Sangre did not make the trip. No, sadly.
But they talk about Cole says his facial expressions are better than anybody else's when it comes to interacting with Taker. So then, of course, Shawn, Flair, Triple H, and then
Triple H gives us that.
Oh yeah, he does.
Throw a slash.
He's always good at that.
Yeah.
And then a guy who must have thought he was showing up to wrestle.
We gotta talk about
the Undertaker. Everybody else is in a suit, or Godwins are in their overalls.
They're
and
kind of in gimmick.
Foley's Foley. He's in his sweats.
And Shawn's got cowboy hat or an NXT hat, I think. Yeah. T-shirt.
But that's what Shawn usually shows up
Shawn,
in. But little brother Kane,
Mayor Kane. He's got to be there. He comes out last.
He's
the
guy
guy with the biggest relationship with Undertaker. Maybe not his best friend or had the best matches with him, but honestly, his career, of course, it's because of the Undertaker.
Yeah.
He didn't get the memo, or he got ribbed or something. Look, we know what Kane looks like. We've seen him without the mask. We've seen him run for mayor. He's been corporate Kane.
We've seen his wig fly off.
Suit. Yes. And yet, Kane comes out on the stage, mask, wig, gloves, elbow pads, knee pads, spandex, gear.
He hadn't shaved his chest, though.
No. And
he hadn't worked out in a while.
He walks out and steps in the ring to join all these other guys dressed up for this special occasion. It's like...
Oh, that was my favorite part of the whole thing.
He's like, I thought this was a costume party or something.
Yeah, Kane. I think he's going to have Taker's last match that night. He comes dressed up. So, oh man, it was good though. It was good.
Oh, it's I have no idea what's going on. I need to hear Kane talk about that, like why they made him do that or why he chose to do that.
I feel like he answered that on a podcast somewhere, and he said, or maybe it was Sean. But they said that he was supposed to be, like, they had asked him to come.
Sure
but, like, I don't know why, but, like, why? Yeah. Like, what? I don't know. Anyway.
And, again, it's our last episode. I don't want to be too negative or cynical here, but I was disappointed that this is it. And they don't stand around the ring. They don't stand out and, like, applaud or clap. They just come out and wave, and then they're gone. We get this Undertaker video package, and all these legends disappear. And it would have been cool to see a little bit more of them. And that's why I like, to change this to a positive note, there is a special on the network, the WWE Day of, for Survivor Series 2020. If you have not watched that, fans, go take 20 minutes and check that out. Usually those are like kind of all the things going on behind the scenes at a pay-per-view. Yeah. This is just about these legends. Yeah. They share some stories. It's like a bonus feature for the Last Ride DVD. It could have been that. Like Savio talks and the Godwins talk, and you hadn't heard those guys talk in a long time. The Godfather, they all tell some funny Undertaker stories and talk about partying kind of the night before this. So that was cool. And that's what I wanted out of their appearance on the pay-per-view. Yeah. So I'm glad it's at least on the network.
Oh, yeah, it is. And like you said, I kind of wish they had waited and added that on to the Last Ride DVD as an extra chapter, because it completes the story. But yeah, that song that from the Boneyard match, Now That We're Dead by Metallica plays, and great video just recapping his whole career.
It's got
it's one of the best. Yeah. Everything. We've covered everything in it.
You think of an iconic Undertaker moment.
It's in there.
They got it in that video, man.
Yep, and it's all in there.
Fans, fans we've pointed out. Signs we've pointed out. There's one where it's got the eyes and the poster board they roll out in there. Dude, it's got... I think we say this every time there's a video package like this, but they just outdo themselves.
They do, man.
This might be the best one I've ever seen.
It's the best Taker one for sure. Yeah. Like it's and there's some that stand out from the WWE Desire one stand out, and the Triple H when he comes back in 2001 or 2 whatever. But like this one to me it's so fresh. I think people forget about it. Like I think it's going to stand test of time.
It's
like that one, man.
Us, of course.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah, it's
perfect. It's amazing.
They can just reuse it when he goes in the Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah, don't have to add anything else to it.
No,
so
it's perfect.
And then another thing that's perfect is after that video goes off is you got Vince standing in the ring.
Yeah,
it doesn't look perfect, but it is special because he doesn't appear on TV very much except to get headbutted by Kevin Owens and stuff like that. But the point is, if he's there, it's for something special. So he's there, and something that I didn't catch the first time. He's wearing a gray suit, purple shirt, purple flowered tie. Yeah, but the knot is gray. The tie is pink or purple, but the knot is gray. It was incredible. Awesome. When I was watching it earlier, I just was like, oh man, I got to note that. It's no accident that he did that. He didn't have gloves on or anything, but like the gray suit, the purple shirt, purple tie with a gray knot, like that is awesome, man. It looks so cool.
I wonder if someone's going to find that in a thrift shop. Did you see that on Reddit? Like this guy, earlier this week, he got one of Vince McMahon's suits from Goodwill.
Does it have like VKM inside or something?
Yes, it has like his stitcher. It says Vincent Kennedy McMahon, like a recent one.
Oh wow!
It looked like his jacket.
Oh wow!
Not, it's different colors than this, but it's from. He got it in Orlando.
Wow!
He said
that's awesome, man.
So maybe listeners, if you gotta go look for this Undertaker.
It'll be in Orlando too.
Yeah, it would be.
That's where it was.
That's where they are, man. But this was.
It's awesome.
It's very special. And meaningful. He kind of. It seems like he gets a little choked up.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah, he just, says, we don't have to quote his whole thing, but just says, this is the end of an era that'll never be duplicated, a career that'll never be duplicated. And he's right, And he says Taker's legacy will live on forever, and he introduces, just like Vince McMahon can, The Undertaker. He just one last time, Like, it was really cool to hear Vince saying it the way he wants it said on TV,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he also says something we haven't heard in a long time. He says WWF.
Oh, yeah, he does. I
He's
forgot about that.
One of the best superstars in the WWF or the WWE.
Yeah, that's right. That was a big deal. I remember.
Yeah. So, of course, we then get to my favorite part of the night is The Undertaker's entrance into this. He gets one more iconic entrance, a bunch of pyro, and then the original Graveyard Symphony theme song played via Tesla coils.
Yes, sir.
Which are, you're the scientist. How would you describe what that is? Because I don't even fully understand it.
It's these two, like, electromagnetic things, and then I don't know how they make the noise or whatever, but, like, you can do them in, like, a hands-on museum with your kids or something like that. But, yeah, they can be taught to sing, basically, quote-unquote sing. Like, you can tune them to make the electric shocks and pitch them. And so someone did that to Taker's theme.
Yeah.
And there's two of them, and the lightning hits in the middle, and that's how the song is sung or whatever and played. It's really cool.
Really neat idea. Kudos to whoever came
something
up
I
with
didn't
that.
know I needed.
No.
But now I saw it again. I was like, whoa, that's amazing.
So unique.
Yeah.
And
it ties in that's the old song he had,
Right.
It was his old
Of
original.
course. And it's got the XT logo behind him, or behind that and everything. So spectacular and unique. And then Undertaker's going to enter an arena for the final time. Of course, all the fixins. Smoke, lasers, purple haze, flames, everything, again, except for a real crowd. But one of the benefits of that is you get to have flames shooting out from where the
everywhere.
seats would be in the arena, which wouldn't be great if
kill
you had
people.
people there. But hey, let's do it since you're in the Thunderdome.
Exactly. And if I'm not mistaken, I think I pointed this out back in November, I'm pretty sure he's wearing the same jacket that he laid in the middle of the ring at Roman Reigns' match that he was supposed to retire on, which was the impetus for this entire podcast, So he's got that same jacket on this night. So his fake retirement, not Mark Henry style, but his accidental fake retirement and his real retirement here, he's got the same jacket on. So that's cool.
He should have had a salmon Undertaker jacket on for the night. Let us know what
Vince
the deal
would have bought
was.
it from him.
Something else that was different that we've never seen Undertaker do.
Yes.
He does not take a slow walk up the steps into the ring, but rather elevate.
Yeah.
I don't have a prop here to do it, but he's on a riser or something and gets lifted above the turnbuckle pole.
Yeah, it's pretty
in
cool.
the ring. Again, just something a little different, something a little special here. We've got like some piped in chants chanting for Undertaker here. All the screens are blacked out, so there's not actually any fans
that would have been
watching
distracting.
it. That would have been distracting. Again, my idea, I think they should have had the legends and like the whole roster. Like everyone in the building that works for WWE, bring them out, have them surround ringside, let them clap and cheer. I think that would have given it a little more life and ambience. But again, that's not what happened. So
Yeah, and I was a little, that would be cool in hindsight, but like I think, to me it wasn't as off-putting as it was to you, the way they did it. And I think it's cool because my thing was, this was just him by himself, no fans, nobody else. Yeah, it would have been cool to have that live reaction, but I don't know. There's something just poetic about it just being him. To me, like,
that's a good way to
artistic,
look at it.
just have him. It's only focused on him, If you're not having fans, they're just not having anybody. So I don't know. It was I thought it was pretty cool, and
I like that thought on there of him being so iconic that he is the only
no one's
one
going to take away from this
in
moment.
there. I think that's a very positive.
That's the way I looked at it.
No, I like that. I think that's a better way to frame it. I'm good with that.
But he gives a small quote. I mean, he doesn't say very much. He's, for 30 long years, I made that slow walk to this ring and laid people to rest time and time again. which made me think of the Counting Crows.
Time.
But he says, now my time has come. My time has come to let the Undertaker rest in peace. And that's it.
Yeah, man. You can tell, again, it's not real crowd. No, it's not live crowd noise chanting for him. But you can tell this is still real. This is still him saying goodbye. This is still 30 years since his iconic debut. I mean, he's had a very emotional whirlwind year.
Yeah.
Had that final match. We talked about his brother dying.
Yep.
Had that happening. Had his mortality sort of put in front of his face. We didn't say this, but throughout the summer, we covered it on the podcast in the past, but we didn't say it tonight. I mean, he went on a media blitz. He was everywhere except for Talking Taker. Although the invitation's still open for Play
Family
Barbecue.
Barbecue.
We're still there. He was in magazines, TV shows, YouTube shows, podcasts, everywhere. I mean, he after 30 years of protecting this character, showed us his real self for once, and now he's finally saying goodbye to the business retirement. Of course, he's going through some real emotions in there, even though it's not exactly what he would have expected.
Yeah.
There's no real fans there. I mean, it's still very real, his emotions that he's going through, and you can see it on him, even though he's trying to stay in that Undertaker character one last time. He does soak in the specialness of this moment.
And even if they hadn't had the fake, the real crowd noise, but the pipe thing, I'm saying, he still would have. I think he still would have turned around and kind of looked around, just because that's the last time in an arena he's gonna be like that, So, but then of course we can't sign off here without him doing a Shakespeare pose, man. And this is quite possibly. There are a couple of iconic Shakespeare poses. One being WrestleMania 13, right, with him holding the title up on his knee and everything But this might become my new favorite Shakespeare pose.
I was not expecting this.
No, and that's the thing. I expected there to be legends there. I expected to get a great video package. I expected him to come in with a bunch of pyro. I didn't expect Tesla coils, but the entrance going to be cool. I expected him to say something like, Taker's going to rest in peace. This was unexpected. And I'm about to get goosebumps just talking about it, man, because he does this Shakespeare pose, and we hear, "Oh, yes!"
There.
And
PB.
Paul Bearer is there. A freaking hologram of Paul Bearer holding the urn, man.
Our first WWE hologram.
We've had on
we've
it.
ever seen.
Yeah, there was a hologram of Bray Wyatt in 2016 or something, but that was this was the first one on Talking Taker, the first one that mattered. That one didn't matter.
I think there was one of Ultimate Warrior in WCW.
There was.
Oh man, it was.
Are you kidding me, man? This was
special.
It was awesome, and it got me in the feels, man, watching that, just because of how we have covered this whole thing and seen how much Paul meant to him and to the character more so than the guy, just to the character. How Taker wouldn't have been Taker without Paul Bearer, probably.
I mean, again, that's been something we talked about a lot in those first 100 episodes, or first 60 or so episodes of the show. He returns on our episode 100 at WrestleMania 20. But Paul Bearer was something we talked about every week. Our appreciation for him, our love for him grew week after week after week. I think we both said, of course, we were fans of Paul Bearer. How could you not be?
Yeah.
He just jumps off the screen. He's hilarious, his facial expressions and everything. But that was a huge thing in the early days of the show, was appreciating how much he added to the Undertaker gimmick, to the character, how much he did on the outside. What'd you call it?
Mr. Bear's Opus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Conducting
Orchestrating
the
Mr. Bear's
crowd.
Opus out there.
I mean, and then on the flip side, as a heel, when he turned on Undertaker, that boosted Undertaker up because he had this perfect foil. Really, I mean, he was the best foil he had for his entire up to that point, man.
Put Mankind on a new
never
level
had
too.
somebody. Yeah, he brought in Mankind, brought in Kane. These were the first guys that were really able to take Undertaker down.
Yeah.
And
it was under the guidance and tutelage of Paul Bearer.
The whole Kane storyline, man. The whole that summer of '97, where Paul Bearer is just cutting these long promos, but you're just
mean.
sucked into him
Yeah.
because he's such a good heel. I mean, I was so happy they honored him on this night, and I'm sure that was something Taker asked for. You know,
I bet it was.
I bet it was. He wanted to do
because they didn't
something.
have to do that.
I don't know if he came up with a hologram,
right?
But he's like, I bet he said we got to do something for
Paul.
Bear.
You know? And yeah, it's just, and he bows down and he stays bowed down, and the gong hits a few times, and then you get the piped in cheering, and then stands up and kind of surveys the quote unquote crowd and does one more throat slash, you know, eye roll and tongue sticky outy thingy, whatever you call it, and then
my wife's least favorite thing.
and then walks up the ramp and does one final look over the shoulder, you know, and one last fist raise, you know, to send us home happy or sad or mix of emotions.
Take your pick, man.
Yeah, but it was very cool. But again, like you said, this the hologram of Paul Bearer just put it over the top, man. It would have been cool, but that would just really set it up as one of the best things I've ever seen. It's awesome.
I've said my piece on it. Obviously, there's some things that were not perfect in an ideal world, but again, I am happy that they did something, that they did what they could, that they honored him after those 30 years. I would rather them do it. I would be insulted if they didn't do anything to celebrate it. And so, they did what they could. And of course, I take solace in the fact that he's going to go in the Hall of Fame one day.
Yeah.
He is going to have that moment in front of 90,000 fans, wherever they do it. He is going to get to do that entrance. He is going to get to hear that adulation from the crowd again. And who knows? It's wrestling. What does retirement mean? By
the time we record this, AEW has some new superstar coming in. We don't know who it is, and people were like, "Is it Taker?" I'm like, "No, I don't think so." But
we've already gotten fooled once.
Yeah.
So who knows?
We may be doing Talking Taker
again.
and in AEW.
Yeah. So we'll
kidding.
see. But
he's not going.
It's special, man. It's special that he gets to have that. Gets to have this whole pay-per-view dedicated to it, man, to wrap things up.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because in 2015 he had it was him and Kane versus
25
the Wyatts.
years.
25 years, and that whole thing was dedicated to him too. So, 5 more years later, and I think it was the same exact day. I think it was to 22nd back in 2015 too. We pointed that out. So
yeah,
it's
right.
just
It was.
Again, just coincidence or whatever, but like just the way it all falls in line, and it's just on the 30-year mark. It's just really cool, man. I love that. So, but that wraps up. Yeah, that's it.
The Undertaker's career. 30 years. November 22nd, 1990 on the tombstone. That's when it was born.
Yeah.
November 22nd, 2020. That's when it died. That's when it rested in peace. We did it over 187 episodes here. Didn't know if we'd really actually commit to it and get to that point when we started things. But some facts and figures that I calculated here across that career and across these episodes, man. The Undertaker had, we had some bonus episodes to make up our 187, but he had 174 actual pay-per-view matches across that time. And across that time, he had, to my calculations, some you hardcore fans, you might be able to correct us. I might be 1 or 2 off on some of these numbers. Did what I could here. I calculated 85 unique opponents across those matches. Obviously, I counted like Kane and Isaac Yankem as different people because Isaac Yankem was in a Survivor Series match. But I counted stuff like that was in there. So your numbers might be a little bit off, but generally 85 unique opponents in there. Again, I'm not including Royal Rumbles, but I am including Survivor Series matches.
Right.
So 174 pay-per-view matches. According to the Internet Wrestling Database, Kane allegedly has 175. So he's one up on Deadman.
I believe that.
And he came about in a more of a pay-per-view era where there's more pay-per-views going on.
And he stuck around more full-time than Taker did later on.
Randy Orton actually has 172. Triple H has 170. And Cena has 161. So I'm sure Orton will surpass both those guys.
I thought Cena would have been more.
So one loss record throughout these matches. Undertaker's pay-per-view win-loss record, 105 wins and 69 losses. So I think that is a record. I think that's more wins than Kane has had.
Oh, sure. Without question.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah.
He held the WWF title 4 times, the World title 3 times, the Tag Team title 6 times, the WCW Tag Team titles 1 time,
Yeah, baby.
and of course the legendary Hardcore title 1 time. Those are all his title reigns. The Undertaker appeared in 57 video games over the past 30 years.
Golly.
That's a lot of WWE video games.
57
Yeah.
games.
The Undertaker was an active wrestler, so I'm counting Survivor Series 90 to WrestleMania 36.
Sure.
10,717 days. He was an active wrestler in WWE.
10,717 days. How do you imagine Taker's career? First 2/3 of Taker's career. Yeah.
His longest entrance? Any guesses?
Ooh. Yes.
Okay. And this is courtesy of St. Ridley Santos, who calculated this.
Was it WrestleMania?
It is a WrestleMania.
33.
Nope, should have stopped when you just said 30.
30.
Yeah.
WrestleMania 30? Okay.
7 minutes and 4 seconds.
Goo!
And that is the one where he's got all the caskets
That's
out there.
right.
And that's part of why
Okay.
that one takes so long. But that's a huge chunk of time.
Golly. 7 minutes.
Of course, 25-2 WrestleMania record. I think that will be his most enduring legacy. Most WrestleMania matches by far. Triple H is in second with 23, so he's 4 matches behind
He may not
Undertaker.
do that, though. He hasn't been on the last 2.
No, and his record's only 10-13. Kane has a 9-11 WrestleMania record. Shawn Michaels has a 6-11 WrestleMania record.
That's so weird to me. Sean's only won 6 times.
And he's Mr.
Man.
WrestleMania.
He's Mr. WrestleMania. Yeah.
Undertaker, they don't talk about this as much. He also has the most SummerSlam appearances with 16. But Randy Orton will probably surpass that because he's got 15.
Yeah.
And, he's got a few years left in him. And then finally, I wanted to look at this. Undertaker's main event matches.
Yeah.
So I'm counting the last match on the show. Out of 174 pay-per-view matches, The Undertaker went on last 61 times in a singles. I'm not counting Royal Rumbles.
Yeah.
And some of those did go on last, so you're probably up to like 65 or 66. But 61 times. So like
That's
a little over a third
Yeah.
of his career.
Wow, he's
He
main
was in
event.
the main event on pay-per-view,
Golly.
man. Who else can say that?
I know.
Maybe
That's
like a Hulk
insane.
Hogan
Maybe
or
like
somebody.
a Hogan or a Cena, but
yeah.
but like even that, like that's crazy.
Cena didn't go on
Cena may
last a
not
lot
have
of
gone on.
times,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, man, that's impressive.
Pretty
Over a third of
freaking
your
impressive.
main event matches or third of your pay-per-view matches are main events. That's insane.
Yeah.
I knew it was gonna be up there. I didn't know it was gonna be that high though.
Yeah,
That's crazy. Oh man.
So that's those are the numbers. Undertaker by the numbers. I'm sure there's some other cool records and stats that we're missing, but those are the ones that came to my head to recognize and to think about. We've talked about a lot of ones over the other 187 episodes, so you can go back and listen to some of the other stats and figures that we've talked about. And man, like how do you sum it all up? Like where do you go with this, man? How do you sum up 187 episodes and this incredible career here? I mean, I don't know how to do it besides our entire podcast. That's what it's been. We called each other. We've said this many times. We talked about wrestling all the time, and if you listen to our WrestleMania 33 episode, we kind of talk about the idea spawning as we sat in this house.
Yeah, it's true. That's
watching
funny.
That
Wow.
WrestleMania. Yeah.
Wow.
Full circle, man. That's why I had to be here.
That's funny, dude.
Can't do it at my house.
That's
I had to be
awesome.
at this house.
The beginning and the end.
Yeah, man. What did you think? Like when we were first starting it, man. What were some of your initial thoughts? Did you think we would actually ever get to this point?
Oh, I thought that it would be a blast, and I thought it'd be unique because at the time, the wrestling podcast boom hadn't quite taken. There were several. There was something to wrestle, and like
Yeah, that was
Austin
big.
and Jericho had them.
Right.
I think Edge and Christian may have started theirs. But anyway, there were a few, but it wasn't quite as big. I mean, everybody has one now. I mean, most of them with Conrad on his little thing. But anyway, Mike Chioda has one on there. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's got one. But anyway, so I thought, and it was your idea, like, let's just do something different. Let's go every match at a time. It was just like, yeah, who else could you do this for? Like, and just how fun it's been to go from his debut in 90, and then a year later he's wrestling Hulk freaking Hogan and win the title.
Yeah.
And Ric Flair's having a part of that.
Yeah.
And then just he's wrestling Ambrose and Punk and AJ Styles is his
That's
last
so
match.
cool.
Like, just,
and we didn't know that.
and
going
in
into
2017, we thought his last match was Roman. So
Yeah.
it's like, okay, well, he's going to get there. But, like, no, we got even more stuff coming after that. And it was just, it's cool, man. And I love the trip. Like, we admitted early on, like, we always thought he was great. He's cool. He's an icon. He's fantastic. He never put on, like, I would never say, like, my favorite wrestler is The Undertaker, though. You know, like, he drew me in. He had great matches. His top matches we're going to get into. Some of them are my top matches of all time, and they kind of were. But, like, I become such more of a fan and appreciated him. And I was always a fan of storytelling. We talk about that, the matches and the story, but the storytelling and is so much more to wrestling than just good matches. And I think watching his career with a fine-tooth comb and the microscope and just going over, like, has made me appreciate good storytelling even more, you know, and miss that when I don't get it, you know, my wrestling. So that's been one of the biggest takeaways, is just really appreciating the attention to detail that's taken with this character, you know, and just how important the storytelling aspect was to him, you know. So
Yeah,
that's my monologue.
Yeah, man. No. I agree with you 100%. I would also have said the same thing when we started this in 2017. The Undertaker was not my favorite wrestler, was never my favorite wrestler. Again, not to belittle him, I'm just saying he wasn't my number one.
No.
I still loved him. And,
still,
and wouldn't have done this if I wasn't a fan of him in general.
Yeah.
But I would say that now. I mean, I would say that unequivocally, without question, he's my favorite wrestler. By going, obviously, I hope so, if we've dedicated all this time to it.
He's the greatest character of all time.
Exactly. And storytelling, man. What you just talked about. Yeah, I think so many people take him down a notch, or maybe just think of him as this this one-dimensional character, you know, as the dead man, as a guy who's gotten all these benefits, all this, you know, some of the stuff King Corbin said in his promo. There's some internet fans and stuff like that actually think that. Yeah. But another thing we've said on here a lot of times is, yeah, Undertaker did get some benefits from being, you know, a company. Like some of the stuff that would happen, some of the breaks he would get, other guys didn't get. But
sure, every
time Undertaker got a break or got this awesome entrance or these special effects or things, he lived up to them and exceeded it and used it to make something more out of it. Like our podcast is littered with guys that have gotten like the love from Vince. Your Tests, your Luther Reigns, your Heidenreichs, your Kennedys, your Giant Gonzalez's, your Mabels. Our Undertaker's list
Mabel's
of opponents
the king of the
is
ring.
littered with those guys who got the same opportunities, sometimes even more opportunities than Undertaker got, and completely crapped the bed, man. They could not do what this guy right here did. And that's what makes Mark Calloway special in addition to The Undertaker. And that's been something fun over this past year, is getting to appreciate the man, Mark Calloway, and not just The Undertaker.
Yeah. And getting to meet him, too. Like, that's, like, before, if it were 2016 and we got to go to a convention and have met him, I wouldn't have appreciated it as much as when we did last year. No. I would have appreciated it, but I wouldn't have been like, this is Undertaker. Like, but meeting him last year, getting to have that clip of him saying, take her easy, like, that means so much to me. And just again, I harp on it all the time. It sounds like the horse is dead, but I can't stop beating it. Like, but he doesn't owe us any of this stuff. Like, he could have retired after he retired Shawn. They could have been a double retirement match. It could have been done. And he talked about, like, he envies that Shawn gave up and stuck to it. Well, until Saudi. But anyway, And just like
It's not all perfect.
everything else was just extra, and like to see his body being broken down. And there's so many guys that I've loved over the years, or guys that current guys that I know aren't going to stick in like he did, and they whine and complain and moan, and he just doesn't, and he just does it. And he was always about the business. Hearing him talk about the Montreal Screwjob and how angry he was, not at what happened, but at the fact he wasn't on that show. He told Vince, he said, "Why didn't you just let him drop it to me?
Yep.
And the next night on Raw, I'd have dropped it to Sean." Like, that's not him being selfish, dude. That's him wanting the best for business. Everybody comes out clean there. Like, that's not a guy politicking for a spot. That's not a Sean or a Brett not being a crybaby and not wanting to lay down for the other one.
Yeah.
That's a dude doing what's best for the business. And, like, that is what I just respect so much more about this guy, man. And, like, I don't know, I could go on and on about that.
I know,
but
but that's
he's insane.
Very interesting what if that you talk about there.
Yeah.
Which brings me, we can do this. We asked for a few questions. We did a great Q&A episode on our Super Showdown 2020 a few weeks ago. The Tweak Trophy. That's a fun one, man. You guys might skip that one. Just looking at the match, but we do a really great Q&A here. And we did get some leftover questions that we didn't quite get to, so we thought we'd do that with this last chance here. One of our Facebook fans, very loyal listener, Mark Short.
Yeah.
I really like this question. Does the Undertaker character last if Mick Foley and Glenn Jacobs don't join the WWF? So obviously those are two of the Undertaker's most storied opponents and rivalries. So I think he's kind of asking, like, does the Undertaker's legacy kind of hold that same spot without those two rivalries in there? What are your thoughts?
Great question, Mark.
Really great question.
Man.
I never thought that. It's really, really interesting.
I mean, they definitely... Mankind was the first guy to come in and get the one-up on Taker. Like, actually make him look vulnerable, And so it gave him new legs to kind of tweak his character and go on that way. But man, I don't know. That's a great question. I'd say, just knowing the stuff we know about Mark Calloway, and I'd say he probably would have lasted, but I don't know. Maybe not without Kane. That's a big part. It's a big storyline.
I certainly don't think the Undertaker character is the same.
No.
And it's like someone asked us on that Q&A if Undertaker had retired in '99 and never come back as a biker taker, is he still celebrated the same way? No, he's still a Hall of Famer, but he's not this icon that we do a podcast about.
Right.
Maybe the same response to not having Kane and Mankind as rivals, because then you're taking out the Hell in a Cell '98. You're taking out Hell in a Cell '97, the Bad Blood one with that Kane. You're taking out that whole summer. I mean, that's huge stuff, man. The Brothers of Destruction are not there. So I do think his legacy would be, a notch or two down. Maybe only two of the spots on Mount Rushmore instead of all four of the spots on there.
That's great. Great question, Mark. Thank you, buddy.
Question. So just going off that, I'll put you on the spot. Top 5 Undertaker rivalries. Top 5.
All right, top of my head. All right. Can I count? Well, okay.
However you want to answer.
Shawn, Triple H, Brock, Kane, and Mankind. No. Let me take Brock out and go with Edge.
Oh, man,
Edge is one. That's one of my favorite stories in all of wrestling.
I gotta have Edge in there. Honestly, I'd put Shawn, Edge, Kane. I think I'd put the stuff.
I may drop Foley off and put Edge.
I think I'd put Mankind in there. And
gotta be Kane. Gotta have Shawn. Gotta have Triple H. Right. Gotta have Edge.
See, I don't know if I want to put Triple H.
Okay.
Man, can I count Shawn and Triple H as one?
No.
Because I kind of want... Nah. Part of me wants Stone Cold in there because I just love that Highway to Hell stuff, but I don't think it's top 5.
I don't know.
And Brock, the matches are great. I don't know if the rivalry. Maybe you could put Paul Heyman.
But I was going to say, if we're going not wrestlers, I would say Paul Heyman and Paul Bearer.
Yeah.
If you do top 7, I'll say Heyman and Bearer. Because Paul Heyman, as we talked in here, he may be the longest running rival of Taker's career.
I know. Yeah,
you know?
him or Shane McMahon.
Him or Shane,
That's it, man.
So, yeah, well, we got Shawn, got to have Edge, got to have Mick Foley, got to have Kane. Those top 4. Number 5 is just, pick them. You know?
Yeah, so many you could put in there.
Yeah.
Any of the Undertaker matches that we were doing in the show that you, maybe your opinion changed, like it was kind of a letdown. Anything that we went back and watched and you were like, that wasn't as good as I wanted it to be? Or
Hell in Cell 98 wasn't as, I think it's overrated. We'll get to that later on probably.
Yeah.
But
SummerSlam 98.
SummerSlam 98 was kind of like, because I remember the whole build-up and the song and how fun it was. And then just the match was just, man. Kind of letdowns, I'd say those probably were letdowns, but there's other stuff that surprised me. We talked about that the other week about JBL and stuff, but
so many of those. Yeah,
a lot of those. But
we talk about
the first match with Kane.
Yeah, actually, I would say that one I liked a little bit more because I remember thinking again that rivalry is awesome, but that match sucks. But the match to me, it didn't. It was better than I expected. Actually, for that.
Okay.
Do you have any more Batman analogies for our final episode? That's kind of been a running theme in our podcast. Comic book analogies, like you've often compared Undertaker to Batman.
All right. Well, here's the thing. Off the top of my head, so Batman has been played on film by how many different actors, right? I mean, you got Adam West, you got Michael Keaton, you got Christian Bale,
Ben Affleck,
Val Kilmer, George Clooney,
Robert Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson's going to be him. Same guy, or same character. You couldn't have done that with Taker. You couldn't have put Brian Lee in there. You couldn't have taken another person out and done it.
That's cool. Yeah.
You couldn't, like they did that with Diesel. They tried it with Diesel and Razor, and it wasn't going to work. You couldn't, it was the man that made the character, So you can't just interchange him and pick whoever Hollywood's next young hunk is and fit him in there, So when this character's dead, they're not going to reboot Taker. They're not going to bring out Little Taker. You can't do that.
There won't be another Phenom.
No.
I wish they would do the Sundertaker and have the Undertaker's son on screen. I wish they would reveal this Fiend as the Sundertaker. You're right, man.
That's top of my head.
There won't be another Undertaker replacement. No one will ever play that character again. And there won't be another Phenom like him, man. Yeah. Someone who... Because if someone reaches the level that this guy reaches now, they're going to go to Hollywood. That's what they do now. Like, Roman Reigns is in movies now. Batista is in movies now. John Cena is in movies now. And whoever the next guy is, probably going to be in movies. He's probably going to jump to Hollywood. If Taker came about now...
Otis.
Come on, dude. Otis could be in. He could be in like a Seth Rogen movie. Without question. And Undertaker could have been in. But that was the amazing part of the Boneyard match. Is just like... Where is this? Why are we not getting direct-to-video WWE films with Undertaker doing that?
Exactly.
Give me those on Netflix once a year, man. Come on.
Yeah, that's my last Batman analogy I got. I think so.
Top of your head, rank Batman movies.
Oh no!
Including Batman v Superman.
I enjoy that movie.
I know, but you just gotta include it. And Justice League, I guess.
Well, the new Justice League isn't out yet.
Yeah,
so
okay, you can take that out because we don't have the Snyder Cut yet.
Yeah, it's a couple weeks. So I'm gonna go Dark Knight
1.
Batman, like Keaton.
Batman 89.
Yeah. Batman Begins, Dark Knight Rises. What's next? Batman Returns, Batman vs Superman, Batman Forever, Batman and Robin.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah. So,
I think I'd put Batman Begins over Batman 89. But
I probably would, but just to me, like Christian, those are my favorite Batman movies. But like to me, Keaton's still Batman.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Those are 2A and 2B. Like,
Yeah,
you know, it's
that's just personal preference.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Anyway,
I threw you on the spot with that.
no, it's fine. I love it.
And then let's see. I got one more for Princeton John. Said he didn't go on Twitter last week. He was busy. But we got our top 20 Undertaker pay-per-view matches. Man, he asked for our bottom 10 Undertaker pay-per-view matches. I thought about us doing that on the show. I mean, what's just like...
Well, one of my least favorite.
give
Guess
me
which
your
my
least.
least favorite is.
Yeah, okay.
I talk about it all the time.
Heidenreich.
No.
No?
King Kong Bundy.
Okay, yeah, that's
I
in
hate
the
it.
top 10. Yeah.
I hate it because of how disrespectful he was. He kicked
Yes.
out at 3.1 and he rolled out and just stomped up the thing.
That match
hate
sucks.
it.
Yeah.
I hate it. That's probably my least favorite Undertaker pay-per-view match. There are other ones that are worse, yeah. But the sheer disrespect shown from King Kong Bundy, who main evented WrestleMania, what? 2?
2.
Yeah, I mean, he knows how much it means to be in a top match at WrestleMania. Whatever's going on backstage, I don't know. But he should have laid there and put that guy on a pedestal. That was his job that night.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. I get hot about it. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
We talk. Yeah.
What about you?
On the show. Dude, I don't. We don't have to do a top 10, but just
yeah.
off top of
That's
our
my
heads,
bottom.
That's in there. The Goldberg match is in there. I talked about that a few weeks ago. I think you have to put the DX Crown Jewel match in there, even though again it's better
yeah.
than you think it
Yeah.
is, but just the sheer disaster
Yeah.
of it all.
All the hype for just...
You got to put that in there. The Giant Gonzalez matches
Oh.
are brutal.
Almost broke the streak at WrestleMania.
Right. That was close. It was
Yeah.
a close call. I think you'd put maybe some of those Big Show matches are pretty
boxing match.
dreadful. Oh, yeah.
The Luther Reigns
They
matches, the
that
Heidenreichs.
match sucks.
Those are
That
terrible.
match is bad. The Punjabi prison with Big Show is pretty stupid.
pretty rough.
I think you might put that one in there. Big Show and A-Train at WrestleMania is dumb. That's one of the worst WrestleMania matches. So, you know, there's certainly some stinkers. We've never
yeah.
shied away.
No, I'll call it like I
from
see
calling
it.
a spade a spade.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't quite want to do a bottom 10 and rank them, but those
Yeah.
are. I mean, you can listen to our episodes. You'll hear those.
Bundy's the worst.
Yeah. And IRS. IRS is.
Oh, yeah, your boy. But that was a cool story. He had his little cronies going after. He had a new crony of the Monster of the Week going after.
He's going through the $1 million corporation.
Yeah.
That was a long slog through that.
It was rough.
And the Mr. Kennedy. God, those matches were. There were like 4 of them in a row. And then Preston John, I thought this was a cool one to close on as far as questions. How has this podcast changed your life personally?
Ooh.
I'll answer first.
Yeah, you go first.
I'll say,
I've been going first.
I mean, it's not like we still don't get paid for this,
No.
except for little something from one of our friends, wink wink, Randy. And we did have an advertiser on one episode. That was funny. We get our T-shirt money. That is mostly from us. Mostly goes
Yeah.
back into our bank account.
Yeah, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 shirts up here we've ordered.
But 2 things for me. I've always been interested in podcasting and loved the idea of it. Really, like even before it was big.
Yeah,
and in
you were doing it 10 years ago.
2010, me and some friends did a podcast, and you were on that for a few episodes.
I'd call in as a random wrestler
just
every
did.
other week.
It's sort of like a comedy / like morning radio
Weekend
type
update
deal,
almost,
sort of something
yeah.
like that. It's bad. I tried to have wiped it off the internet. It's really bad. And then I did a couple for a blog that I used to have, where I talked to different people of faith and asked them about their beliefs and things like that. And then my wife and I, Kate and I, we did one for a little while, but where we did kind of like how did this get made, like bad movie podcast, but it was all Christian movies. So we were trying to see if there was any good stuff in there. And I've always enjoyed podcasting. I've always thought, but none of them have ever stuck. None of them were ever long term. All of them all kind of faded out or just never gained any traction. And again, this one has not. We're not on Bruce Pritchard level or Stone Cold level or anything like that. But it's changed my life. It's like we've actually did it, man. We did.
Yeah.
This is the longest project I've ever worked on of this nature. We did 187 episodes. Like you said, podcasts are a dime a dozen, but very few of them, last. Getting track. A lot of them fizzle out.
Yeah.
And then, we never missed a week.
Nope. That was important to me.
We had to come in with some late saves.
Yeah.
And we were maybe a day or two late on a couple other ones with some technical
and we had
difficulties.
To throw that rebellion match with Benoit on there but like we didn't
that was
miss.
a new episode for us.
But it completed the saga.
It completed the saga. So it changed my life in doing that. That we actually got to have a successful project, Would I've loved for our numbers to be more, for us to be able to make a career out of this? Of course. But I knew that wasn't going to happen. I knew that wasn't realistic. But just the fact that we went and did it and had a vision of the project and did it, and gained, so much more as far as relationships and friendships of other people throughout the way. So I didn't even expect that to have we've only met in person, one of those people, but that was really special to get to do that. And I'd say our friendship, man, it was, we're best friends, but we've only done this in person over the past 3.5 years, only 6 times.
Yeah.
It's hard. We live 5 hours away.
I
you
got
got
3
kids.
Yeah.
Started with 2, now you got 3.
Yeah.
We both have very difficult jobs. We don't see each other as much as we wish we would.
No.
And so this was a way for us to keep in touch.
Sure.
And to do something with my best friend and do this project together. And, could have turned out bad. Could have made us hate each other. And there's probably some times you were annoyed with me. I'm sure. we can go into that. I know it's not always easy working with your best friend, but it's been fantastic. It's been I think the best case scenario of that, and it's been a special bond in addition to our friendship. So I think if anything, it's strengthened that. Especially, we were ahead of the curve on Zoom calls, Skype calls, and everything. Man, we had that down to a T.
We did
for this COVID time. So
my freaking internet died last year.
It did.
We had lots of trouble with that. But
I'll tell you what, it gave me a purpose. Even if a small one. I talked about this a few weeks ago. I got fired from my job when about 6 months into doing this podcast, and so for that about 8 months or so, when I was really doing nothing, that's what I looked forward to every week, man. It got me through the week knowing I had Tuesday nights to record and to edit. And then, during COVID times, I didn't have the experience that a lot of people had, but was isolated a bit. And this was, something to do and something to stay connected. So that was special for me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I agree with that. And as far as how it changed my life, I got to meet Vince Russo on his podcast.
You did?
I'm just kidding. Yeah,
Undertaker?
bro.
You became
bro.
a member of the Right to Censor?
I did. Yeah, all these cool things have happened because of No, I'm just kidding. But in all seriousness, I wouldn't have gotten on Vince Russo's podcast to ask him the question about that if it weren't for this, because I didn't fall into his fandom, and I don't listen anymore. But anyway, but because of this.
Remind the listeners, that was a long time ago. What did Vince Russo confirm for us on that podcast? What was the question you asked him?
I asked him about, it was in 98? Yeah, when they went and found Taker's parents' caskets, right?
They dug them up on an episode of Raw.
Yeah,
Baron
and brought
Kane, digging up bones. I'm digging up bones.
Yeah.
Paul Bearer pushes the casket out there.
Brought him out on Titantron, and I think Taker got choke slammed into one on the bones of his mom. Yeah, boneyard match. But anyway, I asked him
That's our
our
Broman of the week. Right
there you go. And on the
Bringing it
Broman,
back.
I asked, y'all were in Long Island that night. Like, how did they get there? And he's like, oh, well, they had. And he just without hesitation, he said, oh, they had a second home in the whatever that he named an actual place up there, and yeah, they had a place there. That's where they got buried. Blah blah. And it was just funny to interact with him, and so I confirmed that on the podcast here. So it was cool. But in all seriousness, yeah, just getting something to look forward to. My life is busy, very busy.
Very much.
Having 3 kids, having a wife that has a job she does, and just as much as involvement as we have at church and everything going on and trying to see our family out of town, I rarely get a night that I'm not doing anything or a weekend. And so this has forced me to, it's helped me prioritize too. Cause like I would make sure to put that stuff first and then put this, not this wasn't important, but I would stay up late at night. And it was fun. Like to not, I don't know, man, just to have something to look forward to. Cause I always would watch on Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, get my notes ready, email them to you, and then we'd record on Tuesday, so I try to have, so like, it was fun for me to make a schedule out of it, I guess you could say, and then something to look forward to. Like you said, we always talk anyway, right? And we always catch up before we record.
We usually are 30 minutes to an hour, like before we record. We talk
about the week or what's going on,
family life, work, friends, all that stuff.
Or if anything's sad's happening or whatever. We just catch up with each other and then we record. So that's been fun to do, as well, because we would do it usually every other two, like before this podcast, I'd call you every couple weeks.
Probably every week, every 2 weeks.
But this has been just really good to just keep in touch and do that and have something that people can say like, oh, that's unimportant. It's just a podcast. But like, it's been important to us. It's been fun.
It's been more than that to us.
It's been way more than that. And it's fun. And it's been good to have the support of, our friends and family and wives. Again, my wife couldn't care less about this content, but like she knows I look forward to it and knows it's important to us. And so she supports that for me as well. But it's been really, it's changed also how I look at wrestling. Again, like I said, like just looking into storytelling, I appreciate a lot of stuff going on in 2021 and 2020, like when they had to focus on that because you don't have fans there. Like it's changed the way I look at wrestling, honestly. And my opinion of some wrestling matches I used to pan has changed because of the great storytelling in them. So I've kind of changed my outlook on wrestling a little bit. So that's been a lot of fun. So, but it's been something to look forward to. It's gonna be a weird gaping hole in my weekends.
I know.
I'll be able to like catch up on like Star Wars Rebels and like watch. Like I've had Tenet on DVD, Blu-ray for like 3 months and I haven't watched it. But like that'll be fun. But like I'll miss. Yeah, watching Taker stuff, So.
I was thinking that this week when I finished up watching Survivor Series, the next night, I was like,
I'll do my hands.
What do I watch now? I'm not trying to burn through 8 weeks of SmackDown.
Exactly. Ooh, some of those weeks were hard.
Some weeks much harder than others.
Especially the Russo era, because he wrote so much in a week.
And if he happens to not be on a pay-per-view, oh gosh, we got to watch like 16 weeks. Or something,
exactly.
So it had its challenges, no doubt about it.
And the little, kind of like you mentioned, just a little cherry on top was the fans, you guys. I didn't know how much we'd appreciate it. We do this just because we're fans anyway. But like having you guys buy stuff and treat us and getting to meet like Jeremy Bagley in person and having Randy on here and
Randy,
watch along Tommy and then
St. Ridley,
St. Ridley,
Mike and JV.
Just having that. We all come from different walks of life, and wrestling really, in my opinion, one of the only art forms that can bring together everybody. Like
we would never know or be friends with those guys, without wrestling, specifically the Undertaker.
Exactly. So, I mean, wrestling is an art form. I really do think it is. It's entertainment and it's art, and
it's been the basis of our friendship.
And it brings.
We have a deeper friendship than that.
Yeah,
that's what started it.
Exactly,
it's what keeps us. It's definitely an important part of it.
Yeah. And you can have a wrestling match in any country in any language. Just watch the match. You can see a story being told. You can't do that with movies necessarily without subtitles or music. I can't listen to a music in Mongolian and know what's going on. But you could put this match on and they can. You know what I'm saying? Like wrestling is an art form, brings people together. So that's been fun to get to know you guys, hear from you. Some of you that have been there from day one. We appreciate that, and it's just been. I didn't know how fulfilling that was going to be for me because that's just extra credit, man. It's awesome. So,
well, let's talk about before we wrap things up here. I think a lot of people have been waiting for this, wanting to hear this. We'll do some final thank yous in a little while and talk about some of those fans, but. You've all been wondering. You've all been voting for the top 20 Undertaker matches of all time. And now all will be revealed. So Travis and I, we're going to go back and forth like we have.
We're going to do fans first or ours first?
I think we do ours first.
All right.
And then we'll let the fans have the final vote and the final say. But what we've done in the past, I say one, you say one, I say one, you say one, and we kind of go back and forth. So we can keep that going.
All right.
You got another soda?
Yeah, man.
I need to parched, man. Talking so much. Talking Taker. Obviously, another thing, that's good. We started this. First few episodes were 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. It was a big deal when we went over an hour
for
the first time. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
So that's a funny way. I honestly did not expect us to have an episode that was over 3 hours at one point. I'm sorry in some ways that we did that. And this one's going to be over 2. It looks like it, but that's all right. I'm fine with it now. But
it's the last hurrah. Zack Snyder's Justice League's coming out a couple weeks, 4 hours long. Can't wait. This might be the 4 hour. I'm just kidding. But I'm saying, when it's your last thing, you're wrapping it up. You get all the real estate you need. So, yeah. So we're gonna go back and forth, and then I'll just say for both of us, like you mentioned earlier, this was very difficult. I thought there was I'm not gonna lie. Top 4. Top 1 for me, like for me personally. Top 1 and 2 were easy for me, but everything else, like top 5-ish, I was like, okay. And then after that, it was like, I don't know. And I went back and forth. I initially just put a bunch down, and then I had to go back. And like you said, just even an hour and a half before we started recording this, I was over there editing mine. And I didn't want recency bias to come into play with some of the ones we've covered recently. Yeah. I didn't want old bias, like making sure like ones that have been too long ago that I didn't have them in my head, and I did not go back and watch any because I didn't want that to affect my thing. And I know this doesn't matter in the grand scheme of life, but to us it matters. It very much matters because this is it. This is our top 20 of his whole entire 30-year, boiling down 30 years into 20 pay-per-view matches. It was tough and a big challenge. And again, I have not seen Alex's. He has not seen mine. So we're going to go back and forth here.
I will say, as far as my qualifications, at first I just spit out matches that came to mind for me for top matches, and I came up with like 20, 21, or 22 just without even trying. And then I just kind of, off the top of my head, made a list, ranked them. My top 2... I went back and forth on like until a couple days ago, and I did rewatch my top 2 to solidify my opinion because one of them was from a bit longer ago, and I wanted to really see how they lived up in my memory against each other because I had a hard time. And I looked at my rankings for the other 3 times we did this.
That's where I started.
And made sure I wasn't like misremembering some things. Mm-hmm. And then again, you had to take into account the stuff we had not ranked, which there's gonna be a few of those. Yeah. We haven't ranked the Triple H matches before. We haven't ranked the Boneyard match before. So where do those gonna fit in?
Exactly.
Because they're gonna be in here. Spoiler alert. And dude, since we didn't do this current era, this last Outlaw era, I don't think this match is gonna be on your list. So I want to give an honorable mention. If we were to rank those. Cena Undertaker at WrestleMania 34 is such a fun 5-minute match. Mm-hmm. It's perfect for what it is. Yep. At one point I was thinking that could be in my top 20 because of how this is such a great squash. It's such a fun storyline.
Yeah, I thought about it.
And that factored into my decisions too. Storylines kind of did. Oh yeah. Like it was. Some of these are just the match, but then some of them, they're influenced because of how great the story going into it was. So, I don't know, man. You want to go?
Yeah, I'll go first
or last?
I'll go
rock,
first.
paper, scissors?
First or last.
Okay.
And one thing, so I started with my other top 10 ones and just kind of went for the top 5 or 6 of each one and then put them on a list because that was easy. And then I had to go with the top ones now and then just decide where they fall in line. But I didn't want to do this, but I didn't want to go back on my word, but my word had changed about my opinion of one of these matches had flipped. So they're both on here, but they've changed direction. They changed position from my original one. So I didn't mean to do that, but I was like, I did. I had to. But anyway, so I'll start. You can
look on our Instagram, @TalkingTaker. It has, if you scroll through our Instagram, it has both of our top 10s every time we've done it. Yeah. If you want to remind yourselves of
straighten
all
my tie
of those.
Here.
Okay.
I should touch this whole thing.
Yeah.
Right.
No, you're good.
Okay. All right. So my number 20.
Okay.
Is
number 20.
Episode 89, Vengeance 2002, Taker Angle Rock WWE title. Up to that point, the greatest triple threat match I'd ever seen. Up to that point. So
Absolutely. Awesome match. Great choice to start it off with there. Sort of a hidden gem.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of people sleep on that. My number 20 was I didn't do episode numbers, so you beat me on that one. More homework. Good job by you. But this is one that snuck in there for me today as I was looking over things.
Oh, cool.
Because I kept thinking about it. It was kind of my last one out this whole time, and then the fact that it's to me it had to be in there. Number 20 versus Edge One Night Stand 2008. So that is the TLC match with Edge. Dude, it's so
good.
Different. You know, it's something 20 years before that, you never would have thought Undertaker would be in a match like that.
Yep.
And yet, there he is, man, and he can do that.
Yep.
He lived up to his side of that bargain. And it's, again, part of an incredible storyline.
Oh, yeah. Well, spoiler, that's coming up later on.
Okay.
So, yeah. I think it's funny that, anyway. All right. Number 19 for me, episode 71, WrestleMania X7, Taker vs. Triple H.
Ooh, okay.
Got that one on there. I really... I put myself back in that timeline and remember how much I loved it, and I think that Mania is fantastic. And that's a great match on that great card. So
that one is not on my list.
Oh, all right.
No, I don't have X7. I don't have 17 on
so
there.
Both of mine. Oh, well, never mind. That one's not on your list.
Well, my number 19 is Rockin' Kurt Angle.
Oh, okay.
So too.
There you go.
You were both there in the low
right.
20s on that one. Yeah, you're right. It's one of the best triple threats you will ever see to this day.
Oh, yeah.
You could put that match on an NXT TakeOver, and it wouldn't miss a beat. Yeah. But that Triple H match, it's good, but to me, it's so surpassed by their other matches, and it didn't quite. It almost wasn't quite as good as I remembered it. And I don't. It's still great. I'd still give it like 3.5, 4 stars. But if we were doing top 30, I'd probably put it on there. But it didn't make my top 20 cut. But interesting.
Well, number 18, episode 84, WrestleMania X8, Taker versus Flair. So just Flair's redemption story, just the whole counting 10, it's just great, man. And the spine buster from Arn, talking about moments in matches, golly, man. And just that match is incredible to me.
Dude, kind of resurrected Ric Flair's
beating up David Flair before
career
that.
And his confidence and everything.
Exactly.
Very special match. Awesome. Excellent choice. I went from just a couple months before that. I went with Undertaker versus Rob Van Dam. That was Vengeance 2001. Man, I think good. Rob Van Dam is one of Undertaker's most underrated opponents. Honestly, they had a couple matches on TV that I think are even better than this pay-per-view match. But this one, again, I have a lot of variety on my list. And that's what's so cool about Undertaker. He could do a TLC match. He could do a hardcore match. He could have a straight-up technical wrestling clinic, which we're going to have a few of those. Yeah. He could have spectacles of storytelling. He could have cinematic matches. That's something when you think of Undertaker as a one-dimensional character or a one-dimensional guy in the ring. You're absolutely wrong. Not, man.
Exactly. No, that one was on the initial list and got bumped off. I love that match,
I think I like that one a little more than you did. I remember talking about it.
But it's great. That one was on my initial 20, so... all right, so number 17 for me is one that might come in a little low for a lot of people, but this is episode 47, King of the Ring 98, Taker Mankind Hell in a Cell. That is, again, we did a watch along. It's not much of a match. It's a few big bumps, big spots, and I think the reason I have it so low, again, you cannot talk about Taker's history and not talk about that match. I mean, it's iconic. Yes. The call from JR. Yes. All of that. Everything that happened. But as far as just what was the story going into that match? Exactly.
Hard to say.
Exactly.
It's kind of a mess.
Exactly. There really was. It was just like they weren't doing anything at King of the Ring, so they were in there together. And it's like, so anyway, the story of that match became the story of Mankind and how he can come back from this stuff. And so anyway, if there had been more storyline, and I just don't hold that one as high regard as most people do, because when you watch it, it's a glorified squash match, you know.
Yeah, man.
But again, kudos to both those men for pulling it off. Taker's got a broken ankle. Mick Foley almost dies, comes back later in the night to interfere in the main event. Like, I'm not downplaying it. I'm just saying I don't hold it in as high regard as a lot of people do. So
as far as spectacle and moments in Undertaker's career, top 5, top 3, maybe number 1.
Sure.
Not on my list. And it wasn't on my top 10 for that era. I think that was a little controversial, and we talked about that on that episode. Like, you're right. It's got 2 iconic moments in wrestling history, but then when you try to look at it as a match, like, Mankind is concussed and can barely walk, and Undertaker's hurt, and it's just like, there's like 15 minutes after those crazy spots. Yeah. So to me, if I'm just talking matches, I can't rank it up there. 17 for me. This is probably going to be a little bit low for a lot of people, but I've got Batista at WrestleMania 23. And I have another Batista match on here, and it's probably ranked a little bit higher for sentimental reasons, which, you know, I try to take it out of it, but watching it back, man, I think it's a coin flip, man, for great Batista matches. But I mean, again, this one was unexpected. Like, you didn't think they would have the barn burner that they had, but they stole the show on that night, or came close. You know, because Cena and HBK, they had a great one too. But they were upset about not going on last, and they went on and proved that they deserved it, man.
And they got to the next week or next month.
Fantastic match, and it really holds up.
It does, and I think Batista's best opponent, by far. So, well, that moves up to 16. My episode 16 is a recent one, episode 183, Extreme Rules 2019, Taker Roman versus Shane and McIntyre.
Now, is this the one that you kind of bumped back?
This is one I had a little higher, and I had to make sure I took him down a notch, because I was like, that is so good. And I think it was just because it came after such crap. Yeah. Boom, we got this. So I had to make sure I wasn't just living off of recency bias and jumping him up there. So yeah, but I knew it had to be on my top 20, man. Like, it's good. I think it's because of how much I just love Roman and Drew as well too. Like, I know Roman gets a lot of hate, but those guys are the future of the business, and Taker knows it, and he is in that match with them. And I love the story of the match. It's a one-off, but it is what it is. So yeah, that's my number 16.
Dude, that was my number 20. That got bumped. One night stand.
No. I thought it would be on yours for sure.
It was close, man. And
I'm very interested.
Sort of the same process of, man, did I like that just because it was new and different, and because it came after such hot garbage before that, and again, if I sat here for a few more days and thought about it, I might change my mind again. But I feel like the one night stand that I replaced it with is just a little bit more iconic to me as far as memories. But I have no problem with that being on there. Like I said, it was my last one out, so it's my number 21. If we were to do that, because it is really, really good, deserves to be up there. Number 16 for me. Again, some people might call this sentimental bias, but again, when we rewatched them, man, I felt like this held up as much as it did from being there live. But 16 is Triple H at Mania 27 in Atlanta. So I didn't put 17 on the list, but I put 27.
There you go.
I think it gets overshadowed by 28.
Yeah.
And it should. 28 is going to be higher up for me, Mania 28. But Mania 27 is still great. It is the bright spot on a bad night for WrestleMania. But these guys kill it, and it's so cool that it's part of this 4-year.
Yeah.
If you want to add in more, it's even longer than that. But really, 4 years at WrestleMania all in a row. Oh yeah, that's such an incredible story. And so that's my number 16.
Love it. It's coming up for me. Number 15 for me, episode 39, the SummerSlam 97, Taker versus Bret Hart for the WWF title. Love it. Love that match. Love the ending. I remember at the time mentioning that's one of the best storytelling ending to matches I've ever seen. And Pat Patterson written all over it. And I can't take the feeling I got watching it again, and that ending and the storytelling and how it played into the greater overarching story of Shawn and Brett and how integral Taker was in that whole thing.
Yeah.
That match just blows me away, and I love it. And both those guys are Mr. SummerSlam to me.
That one was a tough one for me to not have on here. I've got a different.
It's not on
I
there.
have Bret Hart on here. I chose
know
a
which
different
one it
match.
is.
I have a different SummerSlam match at number 15.
Cool.
And it is 11 years later at SummerSlam 2008 against
Oh.
Edge at Hell in a Cell 2008. Again, a spectacle. It is the culmination of one of my top 3 storylines of The Undertaker's career.
Yeah.
The Edge storyline. So good. A lot of it I hadn't seen before until we did this
Yeah.
podcast because
Great
I
to
wasn't
watch.
as actively watching back at that time. But it holds up. Edge's performance holds up. And this is the finale. This is the comeuppance for Edge after his year of tormenting The Undertaker. And it is the perfect comeuppance for this perfect heel as he choke slams him straight to hell at the end. It's over the top, but it's perfect, man. It's the babyface putting away the heel. It's a lot like the Boneyard match.
And it was Batman versus Joker. It was you thought we were done with Batman reference, but we weren't.
We're never done.
This was the Batman versus Joker match that we needed, because Edge was out of his mind. He was maniacal. He was literally acting like the Joker here, and it was fantastic. So, yeah, that's a great match. So, we'll get to that later for me too. So, number 14 for me. Episode 139, we've already covered it for you. One Night Stand, 2008, Taker Edge, TLC, heavyweight title. So, a little bit higher for me. I just, it's part of the overlong story, like we just covered Hell in a Cell, but like, I love this match, man. Like I said, it just surprised me and blew me away, and it holds up.
Absolutely, man. Great choice. My number 14, my Bret Hart match that made my list. You could put a lot of them. Well, it was one of Undertaker's first, really, really, really good series of matches he had with him. I chose the little bit slept on, often forgotten One Night Only match from 1997. So it's a month or two later after that SummerSlam match.
Yeah.
And
Great.
maybe if I went back and rewatched them, I might change my mind. And it doesn't have as much importance storyline-wise. And the finish, it's a DQ finish, so it's I think that's the only weak spot of that match is the finish to it. But to me, that was like it played in elements of all of their matches from the past. I remember us watching that, and I just remember being really blown away. I'd never seen that match before until we did it, and it just a real great chemistry between those guys.
Yeah.
So
Great
SummerSlam
technical
match is just pretty much equal in my eyes, but that was to me that one just stood out a little bit more.
Yeah. And didn't our last episode we had to do that one twice, right?
I can't remember
Is that
which
that
one
That was one of
was,
those British episodes. But
Yeah.
anyway, but yeah, that's a great match, man. Great match. And so my number 13, lucky number 13 here is episode 32, In Your House Final Four, Taker, Vader, Austin, Bret Hart, WWF title. Still one of my favorite Fatal 4-Ways ever. Never a dull moment. Constant action. Constant movement. Just everything played in together, and it was just a great storyline to be told too. Like coming out of the Rumble and going into Mania, it was just awesome. And those four, I mean, three of those guys are in the Hall of Fame already, and one's gonna be, and
He deserves to be.
and he deserves, and he will be. And but it's great, man. I just love that match. We just really put it on pedestal back when we watched it. So
Yeah, I mean, it's still, to my opinion, the best Fatal 4-Way to this day that WWE has ever done. My number 13 is Mankind at King of the Ring 1996.
Ooh.
So this is the first meeting
Yeah.
between Undertaker and Mankind and the beginning of their rivalry. And Undertaker puts Mankind on the map.
He does.
Obviously, he makes him a legend in the Hell in a Cell match, makes him famous.
Yeah.
But he established him here in 96 too.
He did.
Put him over as a newcomer.
Mm-hmm.
First match in the company, or first major match in the company, and it's a all out brawl. It's a wild. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I went between that and the Buried Alive match, but this one I like just a little bit more. So that's my Mankind representation on here.
There you go. Well, spoiler alert, I have no more Mankind on here, but I respect that. That's a good one. So, my number 12, episode 140, the SummerSlam 2008 Taker Edge Hell in a Cell. We've already covered on yours, but again, I just think that's the culmination of a great storyline. Batman, Joker, perfect. I won't talk much more about it, but I put it up a little bit higher because that's just one of I love Edge, love that storyline. It was going on SmackDown while Jericho and Shawn was on Raw, and they just both killing it, man. Just great. So can't say anything better about it.
My number 12, Batista, Backlash 07, Last Man Standing.
So good.
So good. Again, we were there live for it, but taking that out of it, watching it back, if you told me you liked WrestleMania 23 a little bit more, okay, I'm not going to argue with that. I just thought this one, even the last 5 or 10 minutes of it, boosted up even more. Some great near falls. And, the finish with the draw, with them both going off the stage. It's just a great rivalry. And they go on to have a lot more matches after this. But to me, this is the peak of their rivalry. And I have a special spot in my heart for that one.
Yeah, so good, man. Can't agree more. So, my number 11, episode 92, No Mercy 2002, Taker Lesnar Hell in a Cell.
Ooh, okay.
Love.
Okay, yeah.
Just when I think of Taker and Lesnar, I think of this match.
Yes.
This is the match I think of their rivalry. Just bloody Brock up on there on the top of the cell when he's done. Just in the way that Taker put him over. It's just awesome. Taker. Bloody Taker just spewing everywhere.
Bloody Heyman.
Yeah, exactly. It's just this is Taker Lesnar to me. All their stuff in 2014 and 15 was good, but this is if you ask me to put one Taker Lesnar match, this is it for me.
That's the best
I really
match
like this
had.
match.
Yeah. Number 11. I know this was going to be high on your list, so I won't say too much about it, but I just having a feeling. Number 11 for me, WrestleMania 29 against CM Punk. Another match that had not been ranked by us yet. But, dude, I remember being good. I don't remember it being as good as it was, but it really surprised me by how good it was, especially knowing Taker's condition going into it. Needed, and against a guy he hadn't had experience with. He'd been with Triple H and Shawn Michaels the past few years before this, but man, they killed it.
And because before that with Punk, his matches before that with Punk were basically squashes. Punk wasn't on that level yet. So, yeah, respect that, man. It's great stuff. Well, my number 10 is entering the top 10 now is episode 128, Backlash 2007, The Last Man Standing with Batista. Okay. So, yeah, same reasons. We were there. I love it. It's fantastic. It's my number 10 of the top 10 matches, in my opinion. So,
my number 10, you've already said, WrestleMania 18. Undertaker and Ric Flair.
Oh, wow.
I've got that higher, man. Again, the moments, all the stuff you talked about, man, that just it puts it a little bit higher for me.
Sure.
That is not my number one Biker Taker match, but it's close as far as that goes. And it just showed a new level of Undertaker, and I love that you got to have that moment with Ric Flair.
Oh, yeah.
And Flair talks about how special it was. Just a very, very, very memorable match.
No doubt, man. Well, number 9 for me is episode 135, WrestleMania 24, Taker and Edge World Heavyweight title. So I got 3 Edge matches on here in top 20. And this one,
I did
while the end of the story was Hell in a Cell and part of the story was TLC, the beginning of it was this, and just being such a fan of Edge as I was and Taker as I am, and just them main eventing and just knowing the story behind it and the way it starts off, this great feud. I love this match. It's number 9 for me.
Yeah, I mean it's coming up for me. Number 9 for me. You already talked about it. Final 4 in your house, 97. Bret Hart, Stone Cold, and Vader. And I wasn't sure if I was even going to include this one because we loved it. But Undertaker, I think he gets eliminated second.
Yeah.
Or no. Maybe I don't remember, but he's it's not a singles match, and I was like, is it fully count as an entertainment match? We're not counting Royal Rumbles. I don't have any Survivor Series matches in here. Like, does this go in there? But it's just like, is it a great Undertaker match or just a great match? And I finally was just like, I just love this match, man.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's so good, dude, and he's in it, so it's my number 9.
There you go, man.
He's a great part of why it's great.
Oh, yeah. Well, my number 8, episode 162, WrestleMania 27, Taker Triple H. I have it real high because And this is the one, so spoiler alert, Hell in a Cell is coming out later with him. But like this is the one, so initially I had ranked this higher than the Hell in a Cell when we did it back in the day.
Okay.
But then after listening to like you and St. Ridley talk about it, and then me and you talk about it, and doing our like, and then just going back and taking myself out of being there and thinking about the overarching storyline that was being told, this is my one where I took it and put it, I reneged on myself. So yeah, so this is my number 8, Taker Triple H. I love this match, man. I love it. It's so good.
I do too. So my number 8 is Triple H, Hell in a Cell, WrestleMania 28.
Oh wow,
That's my number 8 for me. I already talked about Mania 27. This one is the culmination of that story. I think I said when we did the episode, it's the most Triple H match of all time, you know, with all of the acting and performances, all the stuff you see in NXT these days with your Gargano and Ciampa and Adam Cole and all that stuff. He's kind of passed that on to them. But the drama, I mean, they earn it, man. These guys with their legacy, their history together, they absolutely earn it. The moment of them on the stage afterward, it's all so perfect.
It's great.
And I think it's gotten better with time. I
Yeah,
think we said that too.
Oh, yeah.
When you watch the Last Ride documentary, when you hear them talk about it, it adds to the match even more. So it was hard for me to not put that one higher, but just kind of that's where it ended up.
Yeah, I'm surprised. That's at least it's on there. Yeah,
that's in top 10, you know?
Yeah. Well, number 7 for me is episode 116, No Way Out, 2006, Taker Angle WWE title. Just, I mean, yeah, I'll save it. Is it coming up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
we'll talk about it in a minute. That's number 7 for me. So.
Number 7 for me, you already talked about it. WrestleMania 24 against Edge. That was my highest ranking match of their matches. It is the best pure wrestling match of theirs, so that's why I ended up putting it number 1 out of their matches, but number 7 all time. Again, it just main event of that WrestleMania. Undertaker wins the title. You know, they're trading submissions. This one he's really getting the Hell's Gate over. Yeah, dude, and it's the rare match that it's that's like they have this banger and it starts the rivalry.
Exactly.
You know, like they carry that on for months after that. And a lot of times it's diminishing returns, but not with this one, man. Every time they went out there, it was great. All of their matches got votes in the fans' top 20.
Perfect.
Votes,
I love that
because they're all really good and unique.
That's good. We're on number 6 now, right? Yeah. So my number 6, episode 164, WrestleMania 29, Takeover CM Punk. Yeah, this is peak of my CM Punk fandom. Well, maybe 2011 and 12, but this is where these guys had a point to prove. Punk was the writing's on the wall. He wasn't going to be in the main event because of Rock and Cena again, and they had a point to prove. And the next best thing from the title match and main event is the Taker match, and they went out there and they proved it. And unfortunately, the Paul Bearer thing, he died, but it played in the story.
It almost made it better.
Punk had the gray and purple tights on.
He had the Living Color.
Living Color was out there. Taker's entrance with the hands reaching out. Just all of it, man. And just they went over in time, but they didn't care. This was at WrestleMania. My wife had ordered for me for my birthday that year, and it kept going in and out. I love this match, and I had it a little bit lower, and I kept bumping it up because I just really do hold this match in high regard, man. I knew you would. I knew it would be up there for you, and I do too. I mean, it's my number 11, but I knew you'd have a little bit higher. But it's still, it's great. Number 6 for me. This is when I don't know. This might get controversial to people. Number 6, WrestleMania 26, Shawn Michaels. So the second Shawn Michaels match, the retirement Shawn Michaels match. I mean, it's probably 60-40 we got from fans as far as which match you like better, 26 or 25. For me, it's 25. But I mean, this one, what more can you say about it? Yeah.
It's different than 25, which is so good. They didn't just repeat it; they told a different story. It's the best thread of Undertaker's career is these Shawn Michaels Triple H matches. Yep. And I mean, this one it's iconic. They went out, stole the show one year, just went out and did it again the next year.
Exactly, and that one's that's a top 10 match no matter what, no matter who you are. You can't
You
look
have
at Taker's career and say that. So, yeah, well, then entering top 5 now, man. My top 5, my number 5, episode 186, WrestleMania 36, Taker AJ Styles Boneyard match. I mean, that one I had a lot lower, and I had to just remember. And after we recorded our episode the other day, and then I just listening back to it, and I was like, no, the more we talked about, like, no, that's a fantastic match to end on. And so that's number 5 for me. And if it's higher for you, that could be 3 or 4 or 5 for me. Like 3, 4, and 5 were tough for me. So that could be 3, 4, 5. So anyway.
Number 5 versus AJ Styles in the Boneyard
Oh,
match at WrestleMania 36.
All right.
Yeah, everything you just said, ditto,
Yeah.
man. It is it's the perfect ending, man. It's legendary. It's different, which is what the Undertaker is. It's more fitting for him to have that sort of ending, and it's so well done. We've seen you'd think a cinematic match would be easier in a lot of ways, and yet none of them have lived up to this one. And that's why it's so good.
Yeah.
And it's only going to get better
Yeah.
with time. I feel like.
It's great, man. Well, number 4, episode 163, WrestleMania 28, Taker Triple H Hell in a Cell, End of an Era.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
again, that's when I flipped with 27, and it just the more I think about the story aspect, and honestly, it's the story of Shawn Michaels. Those 4 matches.
That is, that's what Sam Ridley talked about.
The more I think about that, the more
He's
I'm
the
like,
main character.
he's the main character in that 4-act play, and it's just I really come around on that match because it was overrated for me a long time ago, and now it's not top 4.
Yeah, that's
so I've come
interesting.
a long way for that one.
I think it has gotten better with time. Number 4 for me was my number 1 match of the Biker Taker era originally. Brock Lesnar, Hell in a Cell, No Mercy, 2002. It is just brutal, intense. It is 2 manly men throwing hands, throwing soup bombs,
Just
throwing
going at
cast, bloody.
Yeah, the cast.
Beating the mess. It's the last great Hell in a Cell match, in my opinion. There's been some very good ones. Taker and Brock had another good one.
Yeah.
A few years later.
They
but
pulled
man,
the floor mat up and all that stuff. Yeah,
yeah,
it was
and
good.
I know there's been other good ones, but to me, this is the last 5-star great Hell in a Cell match.
So good.
And it made Brock Lesnar, in my opinion, really established him as the next big thing. And
He owned Taker that fall.
It holds up, dude.
It
was
does.
so great watching it back.
That's respectable to be that high. I love that, man. It's great. We in top 3 now?
Top 3.
All right. Well, number 3 for me, episode 157, WrestleMania 26, Taker HBK Street Career.
Okay.
So that's number 3. That
Number
was
3.
hard to put that high, honestly, but just the way things fell out, that was good. So yeah, I love this match. Like you said, it's the sequel to the one the year before, and when we rewatched it this year, going over it, like I kind of fell in love with it more, and I just thought about it as the whole overarching story. I love it, man. It's good. So great stuff. I like it, and that's number 3 for me.
Number 3 for me was No Way Out, 2006. Undertaker versus Kurt Angle. It does not have the emotional storyline weight of so many of these other ones that we've talked about. But for me, it's like the exception in there because, the submissions, the exchange and holds, the near falls, dude. I was just on the edge of my seat so much watching this match. The crowd is great for it. I mean, it's the wrestling machine,
so
Kurt
good.
Angle.
Yeah.
It's the best pure wrestling Undertaker we've ever seen. Dude, it's so good to me, and like I said, it's the only exception as far as the storyline weight being there. Because I don't even remember what the storyline was going into it. They don't have that iconic rivalry.
No.
But in ring, man, it is
Clinic.
It's top 3. It had to be there for
I
me.
don't blame you. That one, I had a hard time dropping it down to number 7, honestly. But in fact, I just heard Angle talk about it on his own podcast that he has. Everybody has one. He talked about how that's his best match. And then the one he was talking about, the one with him and Shawn. At what was that? The year before?
To 20.
WrestleMania 20.
WrestleMania 21. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
the year before.
that
Yeah.
was his best match up to that. That one and this one with Taker, and then he says one more. And those are 3 best matches that he holds in that regard. So anyway, respectable. So we got number 2 now.
So if you're paying attention, We both have two matches that you're probably wondering where these two are, and let's see if we match up.
See if we match up. Number 2 for me is what some people would call the greatest match of all time. The greatest WrestleMania match of all time. Episode 147, WrestleMania 25, Shawn versus Taker. That is my number 2.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
All right! Which means our number 1 is...
Undertaker versus Heidenreich.
Yeah!
Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, Bad Blood, In Your House 97. I'm shocked. I
thought
not think.
I thought you would put I thought you'd put Taker and Shawn.
I thought
WrestleMania
you would put that one first.
That's funny, man.
Why did you rank those the way that you did?
Even before this podcast, when I thought about what's my favorite Undertaker match, it's always been Hell in a Cell. Always been Hell in a Cell, Shawn. What's my favorite Shawn Michaels match? Not necessarily this, but my favorite Undertaker match before I did this was always this match. I loved it. I believe, this is when I came into becoming a fan. It was like 96, 97.
Yeah,
and I remember, I don't know if I rented this tape or if I got it from you and taped. I remember taping this match onto a compilation tape, and I was just, it's the first one. The story of how they get the cameraman knocked down, to open the cell, to get out, throwing Shawn like a dart into it, throwing him up again. It just, the bump off the top or the side, which at the time was the biggest bump then. Like, it would be surpassed the year later with Foley, but like the storytelling of Kane coming in and costing Taker the match, sizing him up, like it has everything sports entertainment and wrestling to me, and I just this was my number 1 with it was it. There was no question. Like it was number 1 for me. Number 2 was going to be Shawn and Taker WrestleMania 25. It was no question. These were there.
I had a lot more difficulty. Like I said, I watched both these back this week to get my feelings in order. But Bad Blood was my number 1 to begin with. But I just felt like, how can I say that? How can I say that when WrestleMania 25
I know.
like the greatest match of all time? And again, I'm not going to sit here and say it's definitive. Again, you ask me on a different day of the week, I might change my mind. And it is, there's nothing bad you can say about WrestleMania 25. No. There's no, flaw in it that I put Bad Blood over. It's just feeling. It's just gut. Yeah. I'm just going with my, heart and my reaction to those, watching them the first time. But, I mean, WrestleMania 25, dude, the last 10, 15 minutes of it, once Undertaker does the dive and then gets into the ring, then you got your near falls, you got the shocked face when Shawn kicks out and all the other kick outs. I mean, every time
it's
you
an
watch
emotional
it, you're still on it. It is a roller coaster. But all the same reasons, man, for putting Bad Blood first. It is... It's the most fun, gimmicky parts of pro wrestling, which is why some people would put it lower. Right. But for me, and obviously for you, that's why I put it higher, because it's peak attitude era, man. All the cameraman stuff. Shawn Michaels as just the most annoying heel, very much like AJ Styles in the Boneyard match in a lot of ways, and he's getting his comeuppance. This is sort of a... he's taken a tremendous whooping for Undertaker in this match. Yeah. He bleeds like crazy. Yeah. He takes that bump off the cell. And something you didn't say, man, and a reason why it's in there for me is Kane. Yeah. That is part of the match to me. Yeah. And he comes in. It's
Kane's debut. It's the ripping them.
Culmination of the summer of Paul Bearer. Exactly. And the beginning of this iconic moment. Yep. So the historical importance of this match. To Taker's career, to Kane's career, to Shawn's career. I think this match, in a lot of ways, is like Undertaker's first legendary match. Oh, yeah. Kind of establishes him as a legend, and then the next Hell in a Cell goes on to do that, and, everything else afterward. But to me, that historical importance, if you told me I've got one day left to live, and I only have one Undertaker match I got time to watch, that's the one I want to watch. That's the one I'm watching, because I'm having the most fun watching that, and I think that's kind of what drove me to put it number 1.
And if you look at, if I think about too, if my wife said after this, hey, show me one Undertaker match, that's the one I'm going to show. Or somebody else just say, show me one, I'm going to show because it got all the other stuff too. But that's my favorite Hell in a Cell. We talked about it last week. It's hard. It's weird that the first Boneyard match, the first cinematic match, was the best in WWE. In my opinion, the first Hell in a Cell was the best too. And Taker's involved in both those. He sets the precedent really. He sets the bar really high. It's the precedent for all the other ones to come. And like to me, other Hell in a Cells have been good, but they haven't been as good as this. And that's why to me, there was no question when we started this. This is my favorite Taker match of all time. Yeah. And if you had to pick one match out of the Attitude Era from WWF, I'm going to pick this. Take one match, I'm going to pick it. And perfect. Yeah, it's great. And those are two of the best guys ever. My top five, I had Taker, Shawn. It was in the top three, and then Taker, Shawn, and Triple H and Hell in a Cell. And my number 5 is Taker and the new Shawn, AJ Styles. Like, it's just, it's funny how he works so much better with those guys. So. You're right. Respectable top 20s for both of us. Well, that's
ours. Yeah, absolutely. We'll put those lists up on social media so you can double check those, confirm them, see all those again. But let's hear from yours, Creatures of the Night. We asked for your votes. We got the most votes we've ever gotten for any of these top countdowns that we've done here. So many matches got represented here. Here's my my wife called Serial Killer notes on here. Well, you got the ring line in there, but
there you go.
There's so many matches. Nothing was unanimous, which I was shocked by. So not even our top 2 were unanimous in people's votes. Dude, literally almost every Undertaker match got at least one vote. But interestingly, The Undertaker and Kama, their matches did not get any votes. The Undertaker and Heidenreich, their matches did not get any
fans.
Votes. Although IRS did, Giant Gonzalez did.
Those people stopped watching.
King Kong Bundy got a vote. He got a solitary single vote. Test got a vote.
That person's ribbing me.
No votes for Undertaker and Mark Henry at WrestleMania casket match. Although I think almost every other Mania match got a vote. So I thought that was interesting. What didn't get a vote?
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of ties in here just because of the format. Not as nice as ours, of course. Just because of the format of asking people to vote for 20 matches, and a lot of them are going to be the same. So a lot of ties in here, but you'll kind of get a vibe of how the fans rank things, even though I'm including all these ties. But so tied in 20th place, three matches that did not make any of our lists. Brock Lesnar, Hell in a Cell, 2015. A lot of people big fans of that one, and it was a really fun match.
Great match.
One of his better later era matches. Bret Hart at Royal Rumble 1996.
Great
their first ever match.
That's the one I thought you were going to have higher than the one I had with SummerSlam.
Phantom Opera mask. And then one that was close for me, HBK at Royal Rumble 98. Their casket match at Rumble 98. So those were all tied here at the bottom of the top 20. But very, very good match. Obviously, it's remembered for Shawn breaking his back and Kane setting the casket on fire, but another banger. They never had a bad match.
Nope.
19th, another tie here. We have the Final Four match. So the 4-way with Vader and Stone Cold and Bret Hart. And the King of the Ring 96 Mankind match. So that one made my list. Was not on your list,
no.
Right? Yeah.
Only Mankind one was the Hell in a Cell.
So we'll jump up to 17, another tie. A match that was on your list, but not mine. Bret Hart at SummerSlam 1997. Heart and Soul. Great match. You talk about the great finish in there. Yeah. And a match that did not make either of our lists. Randy Orton at WrestleMania 21.
Love that.
People do, man.
People love that match.
The year of Orton, 2005. So
if you gave me those two guys in 2019, 2018, they might compete with some of these top 5 we have.
So we'll jump up to a tie at 15. Vengeance 02, that triple threat.
No doubt.
Those were both kind of around the same place for us. And then Brock Lesnar, No Mercy 02, which I had in my top 3. You had, what, 10? 11?
I think so. 11.
11,
Number 11
okay.
for me.
A little bit lower for the fans. 14th, Ric Flair, WrestleMania 18. I had it in my top 10. You had it
18.
18, so kind of in the middle of us. And 12th place, another tie. Match that was on your list, but not mine. Triple H at WrestleMania 17. So you had it as your 20th?
No, 19.
19th.
Yep.
Fans had it at 12.
Oh, wow.
And then another match that was not on either of our lists. Kane,
Brothers Destruction.
WrestleMania 14.
I knew that would be on here. 'Cause
It was on
fans
the
really
fans
like
vote
that.
last time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You know, I thought about going back to rewatch it just because it got so many votes.
Yeah.
And it didn't make either of our top 10s. And I mean, again, I think it's the storyline more than anything. Like SummerSlam 98 with Stone Cold ended up getting a lot of votes. Again, I think that's storyline more than anything. But 11th place, Edge at SummerSlam 2008. The Rated R's Superstar Classic Hell in a Cell match.
Yes.
Number 10, Triple H at WrestleMania 27.
There you go.
Number
Okay.
10, cracking the top 10. Number 9, Kurt Angle, No Way Out 2006. Is that where it was for you?
That was my number 7.
Oh, number 7. Okay.
You're number
I had
3.
Number 3. Number 8, a little bit lower than we had it, but it does crack the top 10. The fans vote. AJ Styles.
All right, good.
At Boneyard match at Mania 36.
I was hoping that the fans would put that in top 10 because
The top 10 are all real close.
Okay.
All very close. Another tie at number 8 with that is our number 1.
Wow.
Bad Blood in Your House, Hell in a Cell, number 8 for the fans. Number 1
Whoa.
for the hosts.
Wow.
Kind of a big, shocking difference there.
One more for the good guys. Yeah. Wow. That's impressive to me that it's that low.
Surprising.
For them. Yeah.
Number 6 for the fans, another tie. You got Edge at Mania 24.
Perfect.
And another one that the fans have always liked a little bit more than us. Mankind to King of the Ring 98 Hell in a Cell. You know, and we talked about why we don't rank it quite as high, but
I get why it's that high for people. Yeah.
Number 5 by itself is Batista at WrestleMania 23. So our Backlash match did not make the fans top 10 or top 20. I was not surprised by that. I think we liked that a little bit more than the fans.
We're there.
And here's where it gets interesting, folks. I've got a 3-way tie at number 2, and then a number 1. So you're not like, I don't know if I did this right with ties. I tried to just keep it at 20 matches, but some of them are ties, so I don't have like a number 3 or number 4, but whatever. You get the picture.
Yeah.
Again, these are the 3 matches tied at number 2 are just 1 vote below the match that's at number 1.
Wow.
So these are your 4 that everyone was around at one point in counting the votes. Actually, one of these was real close to beating the number 1. So our top 2 are tied at number 2, 3 matches. Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 26.
Okay.
Triple H, WrestleMania 28. And then this one was number 1 for a minute. Ended up getting overtaken. CM Punk, WrestleMania 29. It was the closest throughout the overall tracking of the votes for the
I was beginning to get worried it wasn't on there.
Back and forth with
good for
number
you
1,
guys.
WrestleMania 25 by the fans vote.
I'm glad there's love for that match.
It was number 1
I love that match.
for at times.
That's
in
awesome.
the voting, man. It just kept going back and forth. There would be some people's list without the Shawn Michaels match that would have the CM Punk match on there, and it was very surprising to me as I tracked those throughout the week.
Wow.
So the fans really have a lot of love and respect for Punk.
Yeah, good. Great match.
Interesting stuff, man.
So number 1 was
Mania 25, Shawn
okay.
Michaels, man. So, yeah.
I get it. I get it.
It
Again, just personally, I got Shawn at Bad Blood. So thank you guys for voting and for doing that for us. We appreciate it. We want to have you guys a part of this last episode because you've been with us for so long.
Yes, we do. And I got a list. I know I'm going to miss some people. and that's why I almost didn't want to do this, but I just want to thank our fans and listeners, because when we started this, it was just going to be the two of us talking to each other. We didn't care if anybody listened.
Yeah.
But that's been the coolest thing, to build relationships, even just online with people, and to get those comments from people. So I know I'm going to forget some people. You might remember some people I forgot about. I want to shout out the Godfather, friend of the show. We already talked about him. Our only guest, really, in the history of the show.
He called us he called Taker Bear, right?
I'll take a bear.
Yeah, we learned about that.
If I forget your name or your Twitter name or whatever, Facebook name, I'm sorry. Thomas Rodriguez, even though you hated all our videos, we still
I like
thank
the
you
videos. He hates NXT.
for listening.
Yeah.
Adam Davies on YouTube, Mark Short on Facebook, Billy Ustry, Robert Cooler, Clay Daniel, Rachel Struck, Keegan Dermetrajavich, Ben Emerson, Gary Thorpe, Dolores Hooper,
D-Lo Hoop.
Zach L, Evan William John, M Mondragon 96, Collecting Dead Man, Ben Dombeck, Princeton John has been an awesome listener. I got something from him to read here in just a minute. Mike Larkin from the Max Wrestling Podcast, one of our first fans, first person to invite either of us on to another podcast, so check out his show. Cavante Smalls back in the day.
Yeah.
Graham Fitz-Seidel, Michael Vincent, Philip Goad, Saint Ridley Santos, who did the WrestleMania
Quadrilogy.
tetralogy. Jay Stanley, who's listened to every episode. The Downturn, who has been there so long. Watch Along Tommy, guest on the show. Jeremy Bagley, who pulled our Punk card. We love you, brother.
Yes, sir.
Mike and JV from the Bottom Line Wrestling Cast. I'm going to say something else about y'all in just a minute. Randy Turco, our on-the-scene reporter,
So
did a
much.
guest episode with us, has given us so much. We hope to meet you in person one day. I mean, you are the Undertaker's #1 fan.
Yeah.
We're the podcasters, but you are the man, and you
The
have
only
been
man to say "take her easy" on here, besides to end the show with
on an official episode.
on official
Saint
episode.
Ridley.
Yeah, Saint Ridley
we
did.
gave him that.
You're right. We'll give
That
you
was
that.
a bonus show. But we love him.
Oh yeah.
We love our wives. Thank you
Yeah.
to Kate. Thank
Thanks,
you
Jenny.
to Jenny and Logan and Carson and Owen.
Yeah, my little ones.
Thank you to all of y'all for letting us do this, letting us waste our time doing this and giving us this outlet. We appreciate that. You've never given us a hard time about it.
Especially today, they've been gone out of my house for like
I'm
2.5
a little worried
hours
about
now. If you see me leaning down, I'm sending a text to the wife saying we're still recording. So.
Thank you to Mom and Dad, my mom and dad,
Yeah.
for sending us to WrestleMania, for sending us to New York again.
Yeah.
This time last year to meet the Undertaker. If you got a hole in your heart for some podcast like this one, and you speak Spanish, go check out the Taker Mania podcast. They said we were an inspiration to them, so
Wow.
I think
That
that's
means the
awesome. Buenos
Buenos
noches,
noches.
guys. Bienvenidos. Thank you to, if you want to do a similar journey talking about Bret Hart, go check out the excellently executed podcast at Bret Hart Pod. The Bottom Line Cast, Mike and JV, our podcast brothers. Thank you guys for promoting us on your show every single week, and for coming on our show, for saving our butts a few times. They also have the ECW Extreme live cast, so they're going through ECW, so go check them out. They still got a ways to go, so take our listeners, go out and listen to them, folks. And you can actually, if you miss us, we'll be on their show in a couple weeks. Actually, for a 316
316 day. We'll be on there doing the Austin match. Yeah.
And we love you guys. We love talking with you guys, and it's been such fun to get to know and get to be with.
Yeah.
A few comments. Michael Vincent on Twitter said, "I am going to miss this podcast. I really love it so much. I have a shirt from you guys. I hope you do another wrestler next. How about Edge's Evolution?" Who knows? We'll see. St. Ridley Santos said, y'all were my only podcast I kept up with fully for a long while, and I'm going to miss it. Next project, if you have me, I'd love to do another special ep or two, and you'll have my full attention every week. But for now, you've earned a chance to rest and to take her easy.
Thank you, buddy. That means a lot.
The Downturn said, just want to say congrats on a fantastic podcast and incredible work over all these years. What is next, guys? Collecting Dead Man said, fantastic podcast about the greatest of all time. You guys are definitely one of my inspirations for my eventual podcast about Undertaker figures.
Awesome.
Ooh, that could be interesting. Always great insight and information. Going to miss you guys. Don't rest in peace for too long. Bottom Line Wrestling Cast said, it's got to be bittersweet. You set out on a journey and you've completed it. Congratulations. I'll miss the Dead Man talk, but I'm looking forward to hearing you guys talk about another epic. After 3+ years of talking to your best friend on a weekly basis, it will not stop for long. And Princeton John, man, I have not read this yet, but he said, he wrote a little something. Said, to Alex and Travis, thank you guys for a tremendous podcast focusing on my favorite wrestler of all time. I don't remember exactly when I started watching wrestling, but I was very young. My earliest memory was watching Undertaker and Bret Hart, maybe 95 or 96, but I remember when Taker made his entrance. I would always go behind the TV until the entrance was over, but I would still watch the match because Undertaker got me hooked. All these years later, and I'm still hooked to this day because of Undertaker. My issue is that I never have anyone to talk about it with. I don't really have anyone around me that is a fan and I can talk about it with. I tried to get my fiance into it, but no dice. After hearing from Something to Wrestle With that there was a podcast dedicated to the career of The Undertaker, I checked it out and saw that you guys were actually talking about his career. I started from the first episode, caught myself up. Now today I can say that this is my most favorite podcast as I enjoyed reliving the past and talking about Undertaker's career. I finally can talk to people about wrestling. I know all of us will have great memories of this podcast. Thank you guys so much for everyone for doing this. We appreciate taking hours out of your day to do this podcast, so we appreciate everything you have done. I will be filling my Talking Taker mug with some beer and listening to your podcast once it comes out. So for one last time, thank you and take her easy. And he put a picture with his mug that he won for being on the Thunderdome, I believe, wearing his Take Her Easy shirt. Man, we got to get you a new Take Her Easy shirt, Princeton John.
You've been wearing that, brother.
That baby out. And we love that, man.
Yeah, thank you, man. That means a lot.
Very, very meaningful.
And this is all the stuff that's just extra credit. Like Alex and I said earlier, it's just didn't go into this expecting this or feeling entitled to having fans. So we're just excited when we have more than 2 downloads. Because one was mine and one was his.
Exactly.
So anytime there was 3, 4, 5, 400, whatever, 200, like that means a lot because you guys care. And some of you may have dropped off over the years because you lost interest after the streak was broken. But a lot of you have picked up over the years and you've come in late or you've come in, but you've gone back and listened to old stuff. And we love that. And that's what it's all about. And it's going to, we put it all out there for you guys. We like the idea of this too because it's chronological. We try to give you the story each time, put you in the context of this match. And so I hope you appreciate that. And it is a lot of homework. Especially when you got 3 kids and stuff like that. It's a lot of homework, and I'm glad you guys see that and you appreciate it. It means a lot to me and to Alex to know that you guys recognize that. Because, again, we didn't ask you to do that. That just means a lot to us. So.
I just lost my train. Oh, yeah. I really didn't expect so many. It happened so many times where, like, even a few months ago, some people would say, hey, I'm going through every episode.
Yeah.
It's like, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot to go through. But that's cool, and I hope it lives on for a while too, because it'll be out there. This is one of those things. It's not like your weekly Raw or SmackDown recaps. I mean, if that's what you like to do, that's awesome. And
sure,
there's a place for those. But I think it's cool.
But those have a
for us.
Finite point.
You can do this whenever, and you can pick and choose, man. And I do that sometimes. I'll just be like, I'm gonna go listen to Survivor Series 2001 or something like that. Just to
I listen to Farouk episode
twice,
3 times a year.
You should put that match on.
The match sucks. It's so funny. That episode is so funny.
Don't forget TeePublic store. You can pick up our merch. You can pick up favorite shirts.
But
I don't know. Maybe we should put that on there. The Take Her Easy hearse. Yeah. No, that's my mom made that.
Her mom made that. His mom made it. You can't pick that up.
follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Talking Taker. We'll still be posting some content. Like I said, we're going to be a guest on the Bottom Line cast, so we'll talk about that here. We'll post up the link on that. If anyone else wants to have us on, we might show up in some unexpected places. You never know. If the Undertaker ever responds to our DMs and wants to come on the show, you'll know where to find us. So stay subscribed wherever you listen to podcasts. Just keep that subscription on there because you just never know when we might show up again. We're in person. We're here. We might talk about that tonight or tomorrow. We might talk about what comes next. So I know everyone's asking. I don't have an answer. We don't have an answer. We're not going to commit to anything. No. We're not going to define anything. When the feeling comes and the feeling feels right, if we want to do something, just keep that podcast feed ready for you, and it'll be a nice, pleasant surprise one day when something new pops up in there. And when the Undertaker does come around again, because it is wrestling, we know he's going to go in the Hall of Fame.
Maybe Dallas in 2 years.
If he shows up in AEW this weekend, we'll be back. Yeah. Just like the Undertaker came out of retirement, we will come out of Taker retirement, and we've got more to talk about. I want to thank you, my brother. Thank you for doing this with me. Thank you for sacrificing. I know it's harder on you than it is on me because it is a lot more work when you got a lot more kids. So I appreciate you doing that and making that time to do this and doing that for our friendship. Man, it's been a gift. It's been a blessing. It's been so much fun to do that. And thank you to Mark Calloway, to The Undertaker, for giving us this, for sacrificing your career, for giving us this entertainment, for giving us so much joy and laughter and just awe-inspiring moments, for being a part of our lives and for so many fans' lives. I know you'll never hear this and watch this, but thank you, Taker. Hashtag thank you, Taker. Clap, 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 clap.
Exactly.
Seriously, man, he is an icon. He is the greatest professional wrestling character of all time. He's the man. He's the dead man. He's the phenom. We've said our piece. It's just far exceeded the journey that I ever expected it to be. So
without question,
glad you've been sitting right here in the hearse with me on our
no doubt, man.
Hearse, brother.
No doubt. And I was just gonna say, I might sacrifice a lot of time because of my kids and everything like that, but let's not kid each other or our fans. You put in way more work than I do to this. I watch the matches, I give you my notes, but you run all the social media, you edit all these videos, you set up the TeePublic, you get us on other people's shows, you do all the links. I just hit the download button when it pops up on Thursday night at 9:30 or 10. Like, that's all I do. And so I don't want to sell yourself short, man. Like, this wouldn't be Talking Taker. If it was just me, this would have lasted. I don't know all this technical stuff.
Well,
I don't know a lot of this. This is your wheelhouse, and like
it'd be real boring if I was talking to myself.
Sure. But I bring what I bring to the table. I try to bring Batman and superheroes and stupid random quotes and music and funny stupid stuff, or my daughter when she was a baby crying on my shoulder and trying not to break a watch along while I'm holding her and she's screaming. Like, I try to bring that to the table, but like
she threw up on you.
She threw up on me one time.
You kept going.
I did not stop.
Nope.
That was
one of the
Royal Rumble 2001, I want to say. I came in the kitchen over here, cleaned the puke off, held the thing in my hand while I was watching it. Nobody knew at home. So yeah.
I don't think we even said it.
We did. I've sacrificed that, but you've sacrificed so much time. And yeah, you don't have kids, but you got a wife and you got a family where you are. And so, thank you to you for all that extra effort, because you do so much more. You do 90% of the heavy lifting, and I do 10.
That's the fun part. I enjoy that.
Yeah, and that's the stuff you enjoy. I don't have time to do this. This would have died on immediately. So I'm glad you had the blessing of having that time, and so. We'll try to fill it with something else. And again, like you said, we're not going to commit to anything right now just because we need to take a pause for the cause and just see what's going on, and maybe we'll be back. But whatever happens. But thank you for doing that and for spearheading it and for coming up with the whole thing on your way home from this house and everything. Yeah, absolutely. And we can't say if you were there at all these matches, but we thank you for those of you who were there at all these matches and all of your comments, your tweets, your emails, everything you've done for meeting us in person, Bagley and stuff. Man,
you've been here. You haven't been there at the matches, but they've been here.
Yeah.
They've been here in the podcast with
Yeah,
us.
that's
So
true.
for your last,
Yeah.
if you were there, we're talking about this.
Yeah, if you were
there, you can still hit us up.
Yeah.
We're not going to be able to talk about it on the show, but we still want to share in these memories and these relationships and these friendships. So we hope that does continue.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess we're ready to sign off here. So for the last time, I'm actually going to turn this over to you. And for the first time ever,
Oh, no.
This was unplanned. Alex is going to throw us off at this point.
Where's my script?
There's no script, man. No scripts, brother. So, I'm going to sit this one out because it was we didn't start it at the very beginning. It was just...
We didn't do it.
It was
I
a little
don't
while.
know which episode.
I don't remember, but we finally got it, and the Take Her Easy thing stuck, and it was cool, and it was fun, and it was a blast, and it's an easy hashtag, and it's a lot of fun, but I'm going to sit this one out and let you have this moment of glory and go for it. So, have at it, my friend.
For the last time, as we lay the Undertaker down to rest in peace, we just want to say, take her easy.